disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome everybody to an FOTY Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. Yes, your good friends, the BDA, and man, oh man, it's an impromptu podcast because we just had quite the fight indeed, man. Let me tell you something. This is what boxing is all about: action, drama, excitement, and one of the most dramatic and, dare I say, brutal conclusions we've seen in a while. Fellas, thank you for joining us. We're going to get all into the whole Conlan-Leigh Wood fight that we just witnessed. It's, like I said, impromptu show, so it might be shorter than usual. But hey, fellas, listen, it's all about talking about the fight, opening up the phone lines in about 30 minutes, maybe less, and also a little StreamYard for our non-North American viewers. In any event, before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. You can check us out on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify. If you feel like you want to, you can donate a couple of shekels via the Super Chat, but we suggest you do so by joining the membership program instead. That way you get emojis and special badges in return. And that's about it, fellas. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, spread the BDA gospel. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Neil Simpson, FIFA Ververuk, Mikey Ignacio, Steven Schneider. Shout out to Steven. King Bucho in there as well. The Real YouTube, or YT, I should say. Jonathan Finch, Reverend Pickles, SV, Demon Slayer, Ernie Wiles, Steven Schneider, S. Gonzalez, Black Cat donating via the Super Chat. Hold on a second. What do we got here? We put up the logo here. There we go. He says the zone should have given us a replay or at least some sense of what happened at the end and outside the ring. All right, so for people that know what he's talking about, and in any of it, spoilers, if you haven't seen the fight, he's talking about Leigh Wood coming from, well, slightly from behind to brutally knock out Michael Conlan in the 12th round of what was turning out to be quite a 126-pound battle. Conlan got brutally knocked out outside the ring, and the zone, I suppose they felt it necessary or unnecessary rather to show the replay, because we're not sure if Conlan's okay. Apparently somebody in the Discord just put a tweet in there indicating that he is all right and responding, but of course he will probably have to be transported to the emergency room and probably stay there overnight just to keep an eye on him, because it was quite a brutal knockout indeed. But yeah, Black Cat, completely understand what your point, that it was such a brutal knockout that they should have shown it because it was part of a fight, but they feel that since the guy hasn't replied yet or it's unsure about his state condition, then they shouldn't show that yet. Speaking of that, all right, so the fight was going back and forth. Conlan actually started out, and it seemed as if he was going to be the one to walk away the victor via brutal knockout as he dropped Wood with a sensational overhand left. Wood composed himself, survived, started pressuring and doing what most of us expected him to do, which was to come forward, work off that right hand. Good job of Leigh Wood of following up the right hand with left. He was putting together combos. Conlan, throughout the fight, kept on landing the cleaner shots on that chin, exposed chin of Wood. By the way, man, he kept reaching with that right hand. You would have expected him to, Ben Davison, who is Wood's trainer, kept telling him, stop reaching with the right. I mean, wouldn't you expect that from a world-class fighter beforehand? Like, you still have to tell him that? In any event, Leigh Wood came back. In the last 2 rounds, he dropped, Conlan in what appeared to be a bit of a slip, but he did land a shot, so it was called a knockdown. And then, of course, the grand finale. I believe I can show you, I'm going to limit it to just 5 seconds here, and maybe just show you the final. Well, actually, that's too big. Hold on a second. Fuck. Let me minimize it. Maybe we don't get in trouble.
And he's having success. It's over.
I mean, look at that. And then I know it's a brutal sight and everything, and I shouldn't laugh, but with those green shoes, he looks like a leprechaun or something. Looks like something out of the Wizard of Oz there. Remember when the witch gets crushed by the house and she's got those red socks or whatever the fuck they are? I don't know. It's just, but man, what a brutal. So yeah, once you see that knockout, you understand why the zone didn't want to replay it. But my goodness gracious, what a fight. What a fight. Let me just get a couple of people in here. I'm going to be opening up the StreamYard and the phone lines right away. Or within the next 5 minutes. Or 10, depends. But I mean, we're going to open them quicker than usual because we are going to be... It should be a shorter podcast than usual. Jimmy, hold on 2 seconds there. Because we got to move on to another room. All right, Jimmy should be there. Let's see what people in the chat room are saying. He didn't click his heels 3 times, did he? Reverend Pickle say. Great fights, Reverend Pickle says. Rod Davies, shout out to Rod Davies, says, hey boys, brilliant fight. Conlan. Yeah, people in the Discord, we were watching it together. People kept calling him Conlan. That Conlan was trained at the beginning, but it's certainly loosened itself up by the end of the fight. All right, hold on a second. I don't think Jimmy's getting my invite here. Give me 2 seconds here, fellas. I'm trying to get Jimmy on board. Maybe I'll have to send it via Twitter. Tony Yayo. Oh, shit. Where's Tony Yayo? What did he say? Tony Yayo said, I just saw the highlights on Twitter. Man, you got to watch the whole fight to get a sense of what happened. Get the whole gestalt, if you will. He didn't click his heels 3 times. Steven Schneider says it was pretty sloppy affair, but interesting. That's a good point there, Steven. Full Metal Jacket Snyder. There was a lot of clinching from both sides. Leigh Wood did end up getting hurt, I think, a couple of more times after the knockdown, specifically to the body at some point. And, you know, you wonder if when the ref was going to start taking points away. By the way, Jimmy, if you're listening, I sent you the invite on Twitter. Hopefully you get it. Because I don't think I don't think on Discord you're getting it. Lamb Chop says, what a fight. Ez Gonzalez says, Conlan gassed himself out in the early rounds by trying hard to knock out Wood. That's the sense I got, Ez Gonzalez. Usually when these guys, because the way he dropped Wood, he'd flatten him. And it seemed as if it was going to be a matter of time before he took him out. So as soon as Leigh Wood recuperated and actually started to bring the fight to him, that might have deflated Conlan a little bit. I'm not so sure if that's exactly the case, but it could have been. Could have been. We'll have to see what Conlan says when he starts giving interviews. Neil Simpson says 126 is full of brawlers. I mean, you know what, man? You bring up something, an excellent point there, Neil. I had coffee with Neil 7 hours ago. Hold on a second. Where's what I... Because he mentioned the brawlers thing. Let's take a look at the top 10 here. In the featherweight division, and you will see, rightly so, that Neil is completely correct. Look at this. Zucan Joed Gonzalez. I mean, just those two guys by themselves could make a good fight. And you got Leigh Wood, who's, I don't know, he's going to be bumped up to the top 3 probably. Maybe more. Kiko Martinez, who's set to rematch Josh Warrington. Then you got Mauricio Lara. Mauricio Lara, this guy is a slugger through and through. Mike Sayo, okay, more of a boxer puncher, but still a puncher. And then Emmanuel Navarrete, who, again, he might not be the consummate slugger, but you get a whole bunch of great fights to be made. And Gary Russell Jr. too, you know, he's not exactly the most boring guy in the world. He can make it happen. All right, Jimmy, if you're listening to me, man, I'm trying to, I don't know what's going, I don't know if you got the invite or not. I don't blame him. I'm not a, I don't think I sent him to him correctly. There we go. And what I might actually have to do is end up calling him. Yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, by the way, something I didn't appreciate in the Discord when people, listen, fellas, a general disclaimer. When we're watching a fight and some people are watching it on a stream that's lagging or behind, don't go around saying, oh my God, as if something just happened and nothing happened. Because there were some people early on saying, oh man, Conlan got knocked out. And this was way before the 12th round. So they were fucking around. I get it. Once in a while, it's funny, but you don't want to go ahead and do that too often. All right, man? Especially when I ask you nicely not to do it once and then you keep doing it. All right, people say open up the panel. Well, let me open up hold on a second. L-Dog says the KO looked fake. I mean, I gotta tell you, L-Dog, I like when he starts trolling. I know he's in his trolling phase right now. I prefer it when he does it on other channels and not ours. I know it's selfish of me to say, but hey, what do you want from me? I never claim to be perfect. Nor will I. At any moment. Any moment. All right. I'm looking here. Communicating with Michael Lennon says, "Hey, bro, how do I call in from Scotland?" All right. So people want to and you know what? I just realized people over in the UK, it's later over there. So let's open them now, and then we'll. Because I wanted to ask Jimmy something that's unrelated to this fight. But so let's open up the stream here for the non-North American callers, for outside of North America, I should say. Sounds smoother. But before I do that, let me just give me 2 seconds here because I want to see if everything's working properly. Is the microphone okay? All right, everything seems to be okay. Again, for people outside of North America, please use the StreamYard. If you're outside of North America, if you're in North America, call in. All right, I'm going to be setting up the phone lines secondly, but first to the StreamYard because it's easier to set up. So there's a StreamYard link. If you want to talk about the fight, now's the time to do it. All right. Let me see what else we got going here. Yeah, by the way, like I said, tons of good fights to make. I suspect, however, that since Conlan got brutally knocked out, logic says he's not going to be fighting anytime soon. So Leigh Wood is probably going to fight some tune-up, and then maybe they'll try to do the rematch, or they'll try to do a big fight somewhere else. All right, let's see. We got L-Dog here outside of North America. L-Dog, man, thank you for joining us. Woo-wee. What did you think of the fight, man? Yeah.
That was a good fight, man. That was a good fight. That KO was a little unexpected, though, because, dude, it just kind of came out. Like, obviously, Wood was rallying, but, did anyone really expect that shit?
Oh, I mean, you and I were on the same page when it looked like Wood was going to get iced at some point because he had that chin up in the air with that stupid zoomer haircut of his. And I thought, like, okay.
Hey, come on, BDA. I have that haircut.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're trolling me. No, but seriously, I thought, too, that he was going to get knocked out. And then for him to come back, and that right hand didn't even look that hard, did it?
Dude, it was like that shot that fucking Loma hit Crawler with, but way more brutal. It's just like that short hook to the top of the head and like just turned off. Like it just turned him off, dude. Like you could see his muscles just. Hey, we got some.
Yeah, sorry. Just you're gonna hear some sounds, but just keep talking. Just keep talking over it. All right?
Press 1 to hear important instructions.
Okay, well, it's just like his muscles turned off, right? Like they lost all
Your show will go
connection with the
live in
brain, his
5
body
seconds.
went limp,
4,
and then he just fell out
3,
of the ring. Like
2, 1.
that was pretty brutal, man. It wouldn't surprise me if he died.
Nah, okay, come on. Knock on wood, first of all. No pun intended. Knock on Leigh wood. But yeah, I think he'll be okay, man, because somebody was breaking his fall before he really slammed against the floor. That's the way it seemed like to me, man. I'm not sure.
Dude, if that fall didn't get broken, he would be in real bad condition, bro. Like I could see him getting a brain bleed or something.
Yeah, probably, man.
I don't know. That was pretty brutal.
I think he'll be okay. He just needs to walk it off. Who do you want to see? What's his name? Wood fight next? Because there's a whole bunch of options for him.
I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Shakur. I mean, not Shakur. Fucking Robeisy Ramirez.
Robeisy Ramirez. He's at.
Yeah, I feel like he's at 126. I think.
Hey, you think? Let's say Lara versus Leigh Wood. You think Lara walks through him, or?
I mean, Mexicans usually don't lose to British guys. So
oh, come on.
He probably beats him, but that's a good fight, man, because Wood can punch. Like, holy fuck, dude, that guy can really punch.
Yeah, man, indeed, man. So you're saying Robeisy Ramirez, he's a Cuban prospect, right? Or I don't know if he's a prospect anymore.
Yeah, he's a 2-time gold medalist. I mean, he's pretty good. He beat Shakur in the amateurs. That's why I kind of got them mixed up. He just had a pretty good KO win. I wouldn't mind seeing him against a British guy because, you know, it should favor Robeisy stylistically because Wood is pretty stiff. Like, dude, even when he throws punches, his head stays fucking still, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a knockout loss waiting to happen, man. That's for sure. Well, listen, L-Dog, I got to move on because I got to go take a call here. But good of you to call in, man, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man?
Peace.
Peace and love. Peace. All right, that was L-Dog. Don't forget, fellas, the phone lines are open, and we got a phone call here. Let's go to the phone call. And if you're outside of North America, click on the StreamYard link, all right, fellas? Let's see here. 214, you're on the air. 214, what's on your mind?
Hey, I didn't watch the fight, but I saw the highlights, and it seemed like Conlan was just a better fighter to me. But, you know, he didn't have that much power on his shots because the way he was fighting more like an Olympic fighter. He had pretty decent defense. He was doing pretty good. But the last few rounds, I noticed he was throwing a lot of big shots, and they were landing, so he kept doing it. So, but he got tired. To me, I don't even think that guy really knocked him out. I think he was just tired.
Well, I mean, Leigh Wood was pressuring him, and he was landing some good body shots, and he appeared to have hurt him right before the knockout.
Man, I think he was possibly he was hitting him with some good body shots during the late ladder of the fight. But for the most part, I thought Conlan was just a better fighter, by far.
Well, man, I mean, I would suggest you watch the whole fight in order to get a larger feel of what exactly happened. But, man, hey, I want to ask you, who do you want to see Wood in there against next?
I don't really care for that dude, honestly.
What?
I'd rather see Conlan fight again.
Well, I mean, I get your point
right,
because
like he said, but his head is just straight there to be hit. Like those looping shots shouldn't be able to hit you consecutively. I'm not that interested, honestly. He got hurt though.
All right. Well, listen, that's an interesting point right there. Yeah, I mean, you are correct. Conlan appeared to be the superior technician in there, but it's not just technique, man. It's not just the whole skills pay the bills crowd. They need to remember it's also about durability and resolve, and that's what Leigh Wood showed in there. Well, power too as well, and he ended up getting the win there. But anyway, caller, anything else you want to mention before we move on?
No, it's just that I slept on this fight real big time. There's a lot of fights I've been sleeping on. You know, I think we all should just keep our eyes open.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, this was a good fight. It sort of flew under the radar, but man, oh man, it certainly proved to be quite a ride indeed. Listen, 214, thank you for your call. We'll catch you on the next one, all right, man? Take it easy.
All right.
Yeah, indeed. Don't forget, inside North America, for those of you that are in North America, call into the number right there. And if you are outside of what did I say? Yeah, in North America, call the number. Outside North America, get into the StreamYard, all right? For all of you out there in the UK or whatever you may be outside North America, StreamYard, there you go. And the phone number is in the middle left-hand portion of your screen. Yeah, I got StreamYard. No, I mean, Bucho, I mean people, because I sent the panelists, I sent them an invite, and I see Jimmy's on. But I don't, and Gonzalo usually is up at this hour, but I don't see them. I don't know if they got the invite. I know Jimmy's on right now, but I asked him on Discord, are you getting the messages? And he might be busy too, maybe. Neil Simpson says Aldo is okay. They're talking about Aldo. Terry O'Conman, what a name. He says it was much closer than people are making it out. I gave Wood rounds 4, 6, 9, 10, 11. Had the knockout happened, Wood was winning the 12th, and it would have been a draw for me. Correct me if I'm wrong too, but did Bellew, I think he still had Conlan up 1 point. So it was that type of fight. I mean, Conlan was laying on the ropes, trying to do the shoulder roll, and a lot of the punches were missing, but the body, oof, I think that it appears that's what wore Conlan down. But Akua says, BD Boxing, is it me? Or did it bother any of you guys that Ben Davison was hanging inside the ring? I was going to ask that. In amateur fights, I am for certain you cannot hang around in the corner of the ring. Now, in the professional ranks, that's something that I'm unsure of, so I want to get that right. So if anybody out there in the chat can confirm that, I do believe you're not allowed to hang around on the upper portion of the ring, or the corner rather, and I know for sure you're not, if that's the case, you're not allowed to fucking put your elbow inside the ring. That's what he was doing. He looked like he was at a fucking bar in the beach somewhere, just resting. I don't know, man. It was weird. Okay, Jimmy's telling me he can't get on. I suspected as much. I don't know what the fucking Discord, man. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to blame Discord. I'm going to blame Jimmy this time. What do you think about that, Jimmy? All right, hold on a second. Let me call Jimmy here. And at the same time, let me check StreamYard. Oh, we got somebody here, Michael Lennon. Michael, you're on the air, man. What's on your mind? Michael, you've got your microphone shut off, rather. You got to activate your microphone so you can talk, man. In the meantime, we got Jimmy here. Jimmy, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Michael, you've got your off, rather. You got to activate your microphone so you can talk, man. All right, now I can. Jimmy, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, bro?
All right. First of all, Michael, you've got your speakers on, so I can hear myself in the background. You gotta please plug your earphones in or headphones and talk that way. Otherwise, I'm gonna be hearing myself in the background, and I cannot allow myself to be heard twice. That's too much to handle. It's gonna bring down the walls of Jericho. Speaking of the walls of Jericho, we got Jimmy. Jimmy, here's what I'm gonna do. I have to call other people on Discord. And that's going to take us to another room. So you have to go to the next one. I think you should be getting a message that leads you to this. Okay.
So hang up on this and wait for the next one?
It should be instantaneous. So let me do that right now.
Oh.
Bucho, okay, Bucho's there. Bucho, can you send the link to Jimmy in case because I sent him the link to the new room before that. I just talked to him now, and he has to get... He has to come here. All right, Jimmy's there. All right, fantastic. Jimmy, let me just, we got Michael Lennon. Let's see if he fixes his audio issues. Michael, are you there?
How do I fix my audio issues, bro?
You're good, dude. You're good. What's on your mind, man? What'd you think of the fight?
How's everyone tonight? Sorry about that. I just think everyone's giving Conlan a little bit of a hard time. He got knocked out, okay. He was winning the fight up until round 11. I think we're all giving him a little bit of a hard time. You know, BD, first time caller also, guys. Been following and liking your stuff for a little while.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, bro. All love here from Glasgow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man. So just for I share my opinion, and I've liked and subscribed for 3 years now. All out. Take care, guys.
All right, take it easy, Michael. Thank you for your call and thank you for your input, man. Catch you on the next one. Thank you for. All right, he was having some issues there with the mic. Those were the least. Blue Collar Sport, Del Boy. Shout out to Del Boy jumping by. Del Boy, thank you for dropping in, man. What'd you think of the fight?
Yeah, man, really good fight. We had it all. Both guys cut, both guys dropped. Michael Conlan doing his best Bernard Hopkins impression. This was a great fight, man. Great fight. I mean, you know, going into this one, I wasn't really rooting for either guy. Leigh Wood is trained by Ben Davison, so naturally, kind of, I'm not really fussed about him. Michael Conlan's a piece of shit in general. So going into this fight, didn't really root for either guy. I picked Michael Conlan to win. But yeah, I mean, Leigh Wood pulled out at the end. I had him well behind going into the 12th round. He needed a knockout. And that's exactly what he did, man. Hell of a fight, hell of an atmosphere. England versus Ireland, that partisan rivalry. It made for a great fight. In regards to the greater context of the featherweight division, Leigh Wood isn't a champion. He's not world class. He's just a belt holder. He'll get washed by any elite featherweight. Like Nevalete would go through this guy like a fucking doorway, 4 or 5 rounds tops. It's not really a competitive fight, quite frankly. But Leigh Wood's fun. He's exciting, but he's limited. He's a domestic level fighter who happens to hold a world title, and that's the situation we find ourselves in with boxing these days. You know, certain guys can get world titles who are not necessarily world class, and that's what you see with Leigh Wood. He's not going to pose a threat to any top fighter, in my opinion.
I mean, he ran through him, and at the end there, and like you said, he's not a world-class, he doesn't have those world-class skills. I mean, that chin of his, untucked, he's going to get iced if he fights one of those other top guys you mentioned. That being said, for as long as that fights go, wouldn't you agree that they're going to be entertaining, whoever he fights?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but it's going to be... Once he steps up to that next level, he'll get found out. But yeah, I mean, he's fun. Hopefully he gets some good money, earns some money, but he's going to get disposed of like a used condom pretty soon.
No. Well, you know, unless you're in my household, we recycle those. But who would you like to see him fight next? That's the big question.
I think they'll try and do a unification. If Josh Warrington beats Kiko Martinez, that's what they're going to do. You know, some cheap-ass British unification fight. They'll sell it to be something it's not, when in reality, Josh Warrington ducked his Mando, vacated his title, got iced. He's fighting a guy who he's beat already for that title he vacated. He's gonna unify with Leigh Wood. It is what it is, man. It's just typical matchroom BS.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking they're probably gonna, because Conlan's out, right? He's gonna probably be suspended for at least 6 months, and I don't know if Leigh Wood. He looks at the type of management. He looks like he has a type of promotional entity or management they're gonna try to get him in there with a like soft touch maybe, and then like you said, go for that big money fight, either a rematch with Conlan or like you said, the winner of Warrington, Kiko Martinez. By the way, I wanted to ask you. At the end of the fight, they did not show the replay. And I understand that's usually a custom that they have now where they wait to find out if the knockout victim is okay. Don't you think that's a little bit of a cop-out? I mean, here we are, you know, they show us the songs at the beginning, the video package, they rile us up for blood. And then at the last minute, they let's not go too far. Why not, man? Show the fucking replay. What do you think, Del Boy?
No, I agree. It's a cock tease. I mean, listen, we know what we, as boxing fans, whether you could have sparred, you could have trained yourself, etc. We know what we sign up for when we watch this sport. We know what we're buying into. We know the worst case scenario. So do these fighters. So show the fucking replay. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. That's the world we live in now, though. You know, I mean, I'm sure when Gerald McClellan fought Nigel Benn, they was replaying that shit on Fight Night.
Mm-hmm. I believe
but now
they were.
It's just. They were. Absolutely, they were. And now it's just, it's ridiculous, man.
You know, we got certain people pushing for war against Russia, but they don't want to see a knockout. Yeah, come on. Let's keep it consistent here.
Exactly.
Hey, Jimmy, what
there
do
you go? There you go.
Jimmy, what do you think about this? About what we're saying? Do you think they should show a replay knockout?
Yeah, absurd that they don't show it. I mean, really, seriously? I mean, well, that's usually the first sign of the creeping the frickin' political correctness into boxing. If they're going to do that, might as well piss on the fire and call it dogs.
No.
You know what I mean? Because it's all over if that's what they're going to start doing. I mean, the sport is, you know what I mean, needs all the help it can get. But I agree with everything this caller just said. I didn't catch his name, so sorry.
It's Del Boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I agree with everything you just said. Listen, that was an exciting fight, especially at domestic level. The crowd was going nuts. Ben Davison had a fucking, he couldn't even wait to start humping fucking Wood. He was fucking mounting him right in the middle of the ring. You know, and he jumped on his shit like, oh, hey, everybody see, this is my guy.
Hey, by the way,
creepy, but yes.
Can you guys clarify something? Because I know that last episode we were talking about ceremonial weigh-ins, and Aldo didn't like the fact that we were unsure about whether weigh-ins are ceremonial or not. Correct me if I'm wrong here then. When you see Ben Davison that close to the corner, or he's on the corner actually, practically in the ring, isn't that illegal? I mean, I know for sure in the amateurs you're not allowed to even get up. They ask you to sit down here in Canada. In the professional ranks, you're not allowed to stay on the corner, are you? What the fuck?
Well, he's actually at some point like, all right, I got it paused right now in the end of the 11th round. He's literally pushing his elbows. He's leaning. He's sitting on the ring with his elbows hanging over the fucking ropes, yelling like he's in the ring. His body, parts of his body is in the ring right now. He could have his fight. It could be disqualified for that. This referee was fucking horrible. Horrible referee, too. So I'm not surprised you let him.
Are we correct here? Like you're not the trainers nor the second assistant. They're not allowed to be in the corner during the fight, right?
Yeah, they're not allowed to be on the ring apron or in the ring. Yeah.
So what the fuck was going on there?
There you go. It's happened before in the UK with Carl Froch and Lucien Boutte. Actually, it was Eddie Hearn who got in the ring.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, and let's not forget too when Barrera and Junior Jones fought. Then I mean that was Barrera's trainer actually got in the ring. But yeah, they're supposed to be strict about that type of stuff. And I mean, he was hanging around there, elbow on the ropes, just chilling.
Yeah, well, it's crazy, man. Maybe he was like preemptively taking Michael Conlan's place. I mean, he got knocked out of the ring, I guess.
Yeah, it was subliminal. Yeah, he was using some sort of like NLP on him.
That's how great. That's how great Ben Davison is. He can foresee the future.
Yeah, man, he's a genius. You gotta give it to him now, man. I'm getting convinced, man. I'm part of the Ben Davison cult now. Del Boy, man, we gotta move on. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, not at all. But subscribe, like, etc. Great channel. You guys are doing great things, man. Peace. Right
back at you, Del Boy. Hey, shout out to Del Boy, and don't forget to check out his channel, Blue Collar Sports TV, and his non-boxing channel called Disturbed Reality. A little bit too disturbing for me, but hey, people like that type of stuff, man. He breaks those videos down, gives you the backstory, and his boxing chats are also very entertaining. He reads almost all of the comments in the chat, so shout out to Del Boy for that and for joining us here. All right, let's go to the phone lines real quick, and then we'll get back to the StreamYard. Let's go to 612. You're on the air. 612. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, what's up? Happy Saturday.
Oh, Tin Man, what's up, man?
What's up? Great fight. I thought it was a great card. I always like it when loudmouths are silenced. I think the moral of the story is if you want to fight boxer-sized Ben's fighters, just hit them with a straight left hand. You'll never miss your target. That's what I learned. And great win for Wood. I kind of agree with Blue Collar there that the next big step up, he may be found out, but the guy's got willpower. I'll wait to him. So congratulations, Leewood, and Michael Conlan. Please don't show your face for another year or so. Thanks.
Man, you're brutal, man. All right, Tim, man. I'm kind of having a hard time hearing you, so I don't know if it's a connection, but anything else, man?
No, man. You guys are doing a great job, and take care.
Thank you, man. You too, Tin Man. Have a good Saturday, man. Take it easy. All right, that was Tin Man. Brutal as always. And why not, man? I mean, it's a sport that's brutal. People should be brutal right back. Let's go to 978. 978, you're on the air.
How you doing? Dennis from Boston calling. How you guys doing?
Dennis from Boston. Good to hear from you, man. What's on your mind?
Well, I was just listening to your show after watching the fight, and what caught my mind is one of the guys said how bad of a job the referee was doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk about the 10th round. If you remember the 10th round, Wood started coming on, you know, and I was pushing for Wood. I actually bet Wood by knockout in the 10th round. So this is why it really caught my eye. Towards the end of the 10th round, Wood started pouring it on, like, you know, maybe there were like 40 seconds or so. Started pouring it on. He was getting caught by some shots, but I saw he was finally landing some vicious body shots and everything. And literally, with about maybe 20 seconds left, the ref stops a championship fight where there was no headbutting, nothing, no mad mauling, no nothing, just to have a little chat with them, you know. And I just rewatched the 10th round. I had to go on for a good 13 or 14 seconds. I was screaming at the television. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Officially, he was warning them for the clinching, right?
I don't know. I wasn't sure what it, you know, because there was clinching going off and on like throughout the whole fight. But that was the first time I looked and I said, either Michael's exhausted or he got hurt by one of them body shots. But it was Wood's chance. And because I got money rolling on it, I was saying, oh my God, let him go. You know what I mean? And then after I rewatched it, I just thought the ref, that was one part of the fight. And I was wondering if it was me just thinking about it because I was really pulling for the knockout or if it was like an uncalled for, not just to break him up, but he stopped and talked to them for a good 9 or 10 seconds.
I'm right there with you, Dennis. I think Wood definitely had the advantage. He had him on the ropes. He appeared to have hurt Conlan in there. And then the ref just separates them and gives them a nice, like you said, a nice little chat. I mean, the referee was all over the place today.
Yeah, he was never the same after the 11th round. When he was dropped at the end of the 11th, he come out of the 12th shook. He was still totally shook. So yeah, the ref was like, it was ridiculous, completely ridiculous. He kept, even the announcer said, "All right, enough now. Stop, interfering. Let these guys go. This is the final round." Let these guys,
I always turn the volume. I always turn the volume down with the announcers lately, because they're so biased. Like, I don't know about as much in the UK, but if I'm watching like PBC or any of the channels wherever they're hyping their fighter, I start thinking, am I watching the same fight here? Like, are they, whoever the house fighter is?
Hey, Jimmy,
Mr. BDA, right?
Jimmy,
he doesn't sound like he has an accent to me at all.
I was going to say, didn't you play pool with this guy back in 1977?
Oh, man.
No, but, Dennis, maybe you can clear something up for us too as well.
Yeah.
What did you think of the what's his name, Woods trainer Ben Davidson hanging around there casually on the corner during the fight?
He's a strange individual, straight up. Anyway, isn't he? I mean, he's kind of a weird dude. Like I heard you guys say at the end of the fight, and I noticed I saw that at the end of the fight, and that even the kid Wood, you can tell he was kind of concerned. You can see he wasn't celebrating. He was kind of concerned, like, and Davidson's jumping all over him, like twisting his head back, like, oh, you hit him with this bomb, and didn't we win? And yay, it's like he's just straight up weird. He's a weird cat, man.
Hey, that's what makes boxing so exciting, man. Well, anyway, listen, Dennis, we got to move on to another call, but thank you for your call.
Anyway, thank you.
Call back next time, right, man?
Great show.
Call back again, Dennis.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
All right, take it easy, man.
Will do.
Fantastic. There we go. We got Jimmy. I'm pretty sure you played pool with this guy at some point in your life.
I think I did, actually. I think he's my cousin.
All right, let's go to the international line here. Remember, if you're outside North America, join us via StreamYard. Call us via StreamYard, and we've got Gold Sky Beats. Gold, are you there?
Yeah, man.
Yo, what's up, man? What'd you think of the fight?
That's got to be one of the greatest fights that I've ever seen.
Really?
The ending for me, that was crazy. So,
Hey man, let me ask you, who do you want to see Wood in there against with? I mean, who do you want to see him fight next?
well, I don't reckon he'll beat anyone. Like really, like he's not gonna really. I don't reckon he's gonna do anything in that division. Still, I think it's just a freak win. Really, It was a great fight.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, most people, that's a consensus amongst most people. And looking at the way Wood fights, you have to come to that conclusion. I guess what I really do need an answer, though. Who do you want to see him fight next? That's what I'm curious to hear. I think we're on a bit of a delay here with Gold. Anyway, listen, Gold. I think we're on a huge. Yeah, I think we're on a huge delay here with you. But last question: Who do you? Oh shit! Who do you want to see Leigh Wood fight next, man? All right, we're having technical difficulties here. Yeah, can you still hear me, man? Last time.
No, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
All right, sorry about that, but I appear to be breaking up, and then my StreamYard shut down. Jim, are you still there?
Yes, I hung up and come back on with you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think it was on my end. Yeah, I'm really trying to get a feel here on who people want to see Wood fight next.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It's never going to get any better than it is for him right now. I hope he enjoys this day. I mean, that'd be like this is a historic fight for the UK. This will be a fight they'll talk about just because of the ending. You know, the back and forth. He was down on the cards and most people's cards, and to get blowout Conlan out of the ring. And listen, I've never been a Conlan fan. I think he's kind of a knucklehead. I don't like the shit he says. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he hits high. I mean, both these guys are food for Navarrete. I mean, he feasts on these boys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Wood, you know what I mean? He don't get out of the fifth round. He'll just maul that dude. Do you see like when they would throw the off foot punch, like, you know, instead of the lead hand, the lead foot, they would throw this weird, like they would go to throw it and you would show how like stiff, they're just not athletic. That this, even, I don't know, they're just not smooth. They're not smooth fighters. It's the white syndrome, you know what I mean?
Oh, come on, wait a minute.
Racist, but I'm just a white guy, but I'm just being honest. You see that with the white dudes are stiff like that, man. It's always been a thing. Not all, you know, but it's been a curse of the white man. They can be a little stiff, but
I mean, I suppose compared to other races, I mean, but look, you could say the same thing about Mexicans, but there's always exceptions. You know what I mean? So
you're right.
Conlan was doing something that I know people are tired of me saying, but it's the changed levels. He was changing levels and he was catching Wood all night with those lefts. But do you think?
Hand, yeah, just over and over.
Do you think also Conlan might have been a little bit deflated, being unable to finish Wood in the?
Yes, I think it was. I think it was a shot bullet. Like I thought he shot his load when he couldn't put him away, and he was just hoping to get it to the end of the fight. But that knockdown at the end of the 11th, I know, you know, the crowd was going nuts. You know, the corner, like, it wasn't knocked, it was a slip. No, he was rocked, and you could tell he was still rocked when he came out to the 12. His legs still weren't great, and no reason, you know, and he got put through the ropes like that. But yeah, he was rocked. I mean, where does he go from here? I mean, I never thought much of him more than a domestic level talent, and he's not a power puncher, Conlan. And if Woods, I mean, think about if Conlan's catching him with those loopy head down left hands all night, what Navarrete will do to him. He'll take the kid's head off.
He's
you know
gonna
what I
slice
mean?
him up, yeah.
So we just, so I hope he enjoys this. But you know what? If we'll see what now. Who's he match for? Is he a matchroom guy?
Yes.
This guy would. Okay, so
I
let's
think
see
so.
if he,
Yeah. But you know what,
let's
Jimmy?
see if he starts getting fed soft touches.
I think so. Like Del Boy said, they're probably because we got Josh Warrington and Kiko Martinez rematching next, and those are matchroom guys, I believe as well. Worst case scenario, they're all fighting under the zone, so there shouldn't be that much problem to make that fight. Would be if Warrington wins that fight, it would be an all-out British matchup, and then on top, even if Warrington loses, you still get Kiko Martinez there, whom the British fans are very familiar with. So it would be a big fight either way if he fights the winner of that one. I also don't want to take away too much credit from Leigh Wood, man, because he also upset Zhu Ken. So these are 2 upsets here in a row, and I think we got to give him credit for his tenacity.
Oh, he's tough too. He's a tough kid. He's a tough kid. You get a pack of lunch, but I mean, if you have punching power, because he was put down by Conlan like that, so
yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Conlan, he was rocked. You know what I'm saying? So if he goes against somebody who can smack, he's going to be in for a world of hurt. But you know what? He's tough as a $2 steak. You know what I mean? He just kept coming forward and eating those shots after shots. But I think by the end of the last few rounds, I don't think there was much on those punches.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were mostly the arm punches, going through the motions. That's why he was creeping up against the ropes. He was using it to hold himself up. He was tired.
Let me tell you.
And yes,
if Wood gets knocked out brutally in his next fight, I want to see the replay. All right, let's stop with that. We want to make sure he's okay. Well, he might be okay. He might not be. Show us a replay. All right, how about that? We're paying here. I want to get an update here. Oh, we got wild card here. Let's go to the wild card line here. 111, you're on the air. 111, what's on your mind?
What's up, my nigga BDA? What's going on? I think it was fight of the year, KO of the year, and comeback of the year, and all in one fight. Conlan knocked him down in the first round. Then what's his name? He was outboxing. What's the other guy's name? He was outboxing Wood.
Yeah.
For the most of the fight in the 11th round. Wood knocked out colon cancer. I mean, that was crazy. That was a crazy KO. But I really wish, colon cancer the best of, wishes. And I really hope that he is okay, because I don't wish, harm on anybody. But at the end of the day, this is what they signed up for. They are boxers. We know what they signed up for. We know what they came in the ring for our entertainment to do. They get punched in the face, in the head for a living. So, I mean, but the way he got knocked out, that was like, I haven't saw a knocked out like that in a while.
It's scary, but it's beautiful at the same time. And MMA champ, I got to ask you, man.
Wood has... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I want to ask you, when you're done, I want to ask you about the prediction league. But yes, keep going, please.
But yeah, Leigh Wood, he showed that he has heart and resilience. I mean, shout out to Ben Davison. I think, Ben Davison had the best comeback, as a trainer. He had his fighter, Taylor, undisputed champion, didn't look too good. Now he had his other fighter, Leigh Wood, come off with like the knockout of the year and, winning the fight of the year, So I think shout out to Ben Davison. He showed, that he is a good trainer, but Leigh Wood, I think, I'm not gonna say it was a
but let me ask you. But let me ask you, brother, if he didn't get that knockout, he was losing the fight, right?
Yeah, of course.
He needed that knockout. Don't you agree to win? You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? I don't know how much credit you give, Davis for one shot. You know what I'm saying? Because I think game plan wise, I think that kid was eating punches all night.
I also think what led to the knockout is that Conlan blew his load off. No homo. He early in the rounds, he was throwing a lot of punches, and the cleaner punches. I think he just blew his
colon
load off.
Yeah, he prolapsed his Conlan. Hey, now let me ask you this.
Yeah, he blew his colon out.
Let me ask you this, MMA champ. In regards to the prediction league, like we said on Friday, it's going on strong. Do you happen to know, if you don't have the list here, do you happen to remember who picked Conlan and who picked Wood?
Who picked Conlan and who picked Wood? What's the name? Felipe, he does mostly all of that. I don't really do that, but
all right. Well,
Felipe.
Yeah, I'll ask Felipe because I'm curious to see how many people picked Conlan to win and how many picked Wood. Wood versus Conlan. What a matchup. Yeah. All right, well, MMA champ, thanks for...
I want to see... Wait, one second. I want to say, shout out to 150. He predicted Leigh Wood knocking out Conlan in the 10th round. He was 1 round off. So shout out to him.
Shout out to 150 Dream Team. Check out his channel as well. He does live streams, quite entertaining as well. So MMA champ, man, thank you for your call. We'll catch you in the next one. All right, man.
Jimmy, didn't he knock him out in the 12th round? I thought wasn't it the last round?
Well, he said and I think 150 predicted. What did he say? 11th, right?
He said 10th round. Yeah, he said 10th round. And
all
so
right,
he was
let's
off
not
by
get
1.
technical, Jimmy. Come on.
So I just wanted to make sure because I was in my head. I thought it was the 12th, so I didn't want to keep saying the 12th, and it wasn't.
Jimmy, you're what we call a party pooper. That's what we call you. But
I just want to fucking, keep this shit straight, man. We're about the facts here, brother.
That's right.
So,
hey, would it be too unfair to say that this Conlan got fisted at the end of the night?
Gee. And the reason why this knockout looks so much more severe, it's because he goes through the ropes. We don't know. And usually when you go through the ropes like that, right, it wasn't like he went, it doesn't look like he landed on a table in like Jim Lampley's lap or something. He might have went straight to the fucking pavement. You know what I mean? They don't have, well, it depends. Some places now have padding around where there's no table in case of that, and some places don't. I don't know if they didn't. If they didn't, that probably means the back of Conlan's melon landed on some concrete.
Well, let me show you. I'm going to share my screen with you. See if you can. I can't show the whole video because we might get,
so we're at that.
Yeah,
we're that close now, huh?
Well. No, not that close. But you never know with the fucking YouTube. But here it is.
I'm share my screen with you now.
Well, no. Listen, I'm sharing the screen here. This is the moment before he went through the ropes. It was a right hand that seemed to shut his lights off, and then he just slipped through the rope. Do you think the ropes? You can see the black band there holding the ropes together. So it seemed like they were okay, but it's just one of those freak positions he found himself in, and he just slipped through between the ropes, right?
Yeah. Can you play it can it go further? Or?
Well, I can play it for you, but I'm not going to play it for the people. Let me just take it off the screen here. All right. Let me take you the...
Yeah, so you don't get a squat. Yes, you don't get a...
And he's going for broke, and he's having success!
Hold on.
It's all over!
First of all, give me 2 seconds here, Jimmy. Let me just mute it, because again, it can sound too sometimes. Let me just talk over it so that we don't get... and then there's no shenanigans. Yeah, I don't know why it's loading. So maybe it's because I got a lot of things open here.
It's all right, brother. Yeah, let's go deal with the show. I'll watch it on my TV again. It's all right.
No. It's not all right, Jimmy. It's not all right. It's not all right. Let me replay that for you here. All right. Actually, you know what? Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, I'm just watching it now. Yeah, he just went into a soft spot. And he just went in between a photographer too. So yeah, he could have clonked his head pretty good. The thing is, if anybody touched him, like he has, if he can get up and get back in the ring in his own, power, they can continue. They don't automatically have to call it when someone goes through the ropes. It's just if somebody from his corner ran over and just even touched him, they can. That's it. Fight's over. That's an assist. You can't, touch your fighter when he goes out of the ring.
Yeah, but I mean
Nobody can actually.
I think he waved it off because he was limp. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Bernard Hopkins when he went through the ropes against Joe Smith. I think he had a little bit of he was a little bit alert. It seemed to me, but this guy Conlan,
the ropes.
He was just out. He was limp. This is the word I'm looking for.
I think he was out before he started going into the slide.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's my goodness gracious. It was a brutal knockout, man. Now, minimum 6 months out, right? He's gonna be Conlan.
Well, yeah, depending on the sanctioning body, the sanction body, and depending on the state you fight at. Some states require you to stay out longer after a knockout. Others don't. It's not all unified. Unless you go by, if sanction bodies have their rules, but I know states can be different.
Well, listen, I mean, I don't know what else we can say about this fight. It was an impromptu podcast because it was such a good fight. I have to ask you though, Jimmy, as being a purist that you are, what about the clinching? I know it wasn't.
It drove me crazy, drove me insane. Every time he was just because he doesn't have much of an inside game, if any. So what he did, it was just he kept clinching. Anytime Woods, and then Woods didn't hard. There's ways of defending against that. There's things you can do. You stomp a dude's foot, the front foot every time he does it. There's all kinds of things you can do to make it painful for him. Full arm across, literally every time someone clinched me like that, I would just fucking rake their face with my forearm. Like you see Loma do it. You don't see too many people trying to clinch with Loma anymore. Because he'll just knock your glove out of the way. He'll fucking face rake you with the palms of his gloves with the laces and shit. It just, you want to make it so he doesn't want to do it. And he just kept letting him grab him and hooking his arm up. Yeah, and the ref wasn't threat. I don't remember him saying anything. I know he warned him a bunch of stuff, but was he warning for the clinching?
He did. In fact,
clinching?
That's what Dennis from who called earlier. He said that.
Okay.
There was a point where Wood had Conlan on the ropes. He appeared to have had him hurt, and then they were clinching. And instead of breaking them up and letting Wood have the advantage, he gave him a little lecture there for about 10 seconds, and that seemed to allow Conlan to recuperate. Real quick, man.
See, when stuff like that happens, that's too. You know what I mean? Like, so you got a fighter hurt on the ropes, and I know you're talking. And then he pulled him apart, and he starts lecturing him.
Yeah.
Like, in the heat of a moment, like that could be all a fighter needs to get his wits about him.
Yeah, it killed Wood's momentum. It is what it is. But I mean, ultimately, at the end of the night, it was a moot point because Wood did end up icing him. I'm just kidding. Hey, Jimmy, an exclusive here. Ben Davison is sending me a private message. He said, Mr. BDA, just to let your viewers know, I had this planned all along. Lose and make the first 11 rounds close, and then go for the finish in the 12th. Boxer size Ben strikes again. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, he was boxer. Yeah, no, it was the plan. Lull him into a false sense of security.
I gotta tell you, the guy's a genius, man. He's a genius. It's gold, Jerry, gold. All right, what else was I gonna ask you? Well, the clinching, yeah, I mean, we gotta start calling these people out on this. I mean, it wasn't the worst example of clinching I've ever seen, but it did mar the action a little bit. Yeah,
no, when it affects the action like that, when it's because if you warn people and then take points away early in the fight, you know what I mean? Just run a strict game. Just don't inject yourself in it. But if you warn them and you make an official warning, go to the corner. Next time I'm pulling a point, that can make a guy stop doing it when it's flagrant. And that's if a clinch happens in the midst of throwing punches, you guys running to each other, two fighters. That's a different story. And if they try to start working out, but when you reach out and just try to hook somebody's arm to keep them from fighting with it, that is just flagrant. That deserves to get a point taken away. I mean, that's the one thing you get two arms to hit somebody with. Exactly. And if you're grabbing it for fucking half the round, every round, you got to do something about that.
Let me read a super chat here from that guy. I should have read it earlier. Sorry, that guy. He says, didn't Conlan move down a while back anyway? I could be wrong. Yeah, it seemed like he was fighting at 130 at some point, wasn't he? I got to tell you, Conlan is one of those guys that I didn't really watch for a while because he was just pretty much the same thing. Jab, repeat, outbox guys as a southpaw. But this fight was quite entertaining, I must say. I mean, it takes two to tango, so... there is that, but yeah, I think Conlan, weight divisions is going to be the least of his concern for the next 6 months. He's going to make sure he's okay because that was a bad knockout. Jimmy. Oh, by the way, don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Jimmy, I got to ask you something. I was watching, reading Twitter during the preliminary bouts, and I see that there's something going on here that... Coppinger reported that the talks between Charlo and Munguia are falling apart. Then you and some other people started getting into it with some of the usual suspects. Can you just break down the situation, what's going on, and what exactly is the issue going on Twitter?
With the argument thing or with that whole beef thing going on?
Well, both. Yeah.
Well, all right, this guy, which I just found out today, because if you followed it, I said, I don't even know. Well, somebody said, all right, this guy, T.Y. Philly, said, somebody got any names for the worst people on Twitter? So this dude, King Tut, I guess his name or whatever, 94 King Tut. So he puts me, Steve Kim, Rick Glacier, Ring IQ, like, usually people who don't lie and, so, so you see where he was coming from, right? Which side of it. So, and I'm like, so somebody else, this other guy, according to boxing or everything boxing, whatever, he's got a good amount of followers and shit, got a good page. And he's like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. And underneath I said, yeah, either do I. I had no idea who this dude was. Come to find out, he's like, you don't remember me? He's like, you blocked me after, because him and I guess like Haymanites go at it, good, or ego, right? They go at it, and ego drills this fucking kid. Like, all right, for instance, there was another list this dude made. This was a while back. You should probably use it again tonight. It was a while back. He made a list, this same knucklehead King Tut, and fucking Hamanite said, you put more time, how much you want, I'll bet my life you put more time in that list than you did about your child's college fund.
Oh, whoa.
Dude, he drilled, because this kid threatens to fight everybody. Because when I said to him, I offered, I'll tell you what, since you have an issue with my opinions, right, obviously, why don't you call the show? We'll set some time apart.
Sure. Yeah.
Tell me what, right? And he said, no, I'd rather do my talking in person.
Oh,
so
all because because of boxing, right?
Oh yeah, no, yes, he threatens everybody. So somebody's DM'd me. It's a collage, and is a minimum of about 45 people, different accounts. I'll fucking kill you. Meet me I'll fucking drive where you live. Just this dude's insane. Now, just think about the mentality of that. Just think about if, like you say, all right, first off, no hard guy in the world goes around threatening people on Twitter. So he's obviously soft, right? So, but the fact is, now just think about if he was even remotely serious, right? He shows up to anybody, shows up, literally drives to this person to go meet this person to attack them, but physical, attack them over their opinion of boxing, and somebody unloads a mag in their face. How long do you think the cops would even investigate that when they go to his social media page and they see that he's threatened everybody on the Eastern Seaboard? That he was going to beat their face in. You know what I mean? Like, so he's already laid the groundwork of whoever wants to murder this clown, because he's been on social media for 2 years talking about how he's going to beat everybody up and he's going to fucking end them. Like, he just says stupid, crazy shit. I guess he gets his Twitter page suspended all the time. But again, I didn't even know who this fucking clown was.
I mean, hey, Jimmy, that sounds like people we've encountered here on the YouTube boxing community as well. That we're going to fight, man. We're going to fight. Where you at? Where you at? And then it never happens.
Overly emotional, like, all right, somebody sent me, of course, I'm getting all these tweets DM'd to me, and some guy just made a very factual comment, listed facts about Errol Spence, right? Straight up facts, and was nothing even harsh. It was just some facts that this guy didn't like. He said, I could tell you, he responded, this dude, I could tell you right now, you wouldn't have said any of that shit if we were on the streets, because I'd fucking end you, LOL. Imagine that. So this is his mindset. So because somebody else said he just started following boxing during a pandemic, and I don't know if that's true, but I mean, he doesn't always talk about. But when people say stuff, all right, low IQ people, the reason why like retarded people hit themselves in the head when they get frustrated, stupid people, they strike out in violence when they get angry because they can't hold their emotions back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's this kid clearly is. You just seen his just the way he writes. Listen, I'm not a fucking intelligent dude. I'm not, no Rhodes Scholar, but my God, I look like fucking the best the way this kid is diction, he can't write, he can't spell. So I'm like, okay. Let's be honest. It is what it is. But it's crazy. He invited and he went after enough people, the kind of people that make you look stupid. So now he's just getting blistered.
I can imagine, man. I mean, usually, like you say, in my experience, the people that tend to resort to violent threats of violence, they're usually, facts weren't good enough? I mean, why don't you use facts? Why don't you, if you're really on the side of truth, you don't need to use violence unless somebody uses violence against you first. So, yeah, we know what that's all about, man. And
exactly.
I mean, but hey,
the
it's
facts hurt his feelings, and
if
so
you get-
so he has to threaten people because, and again, and I haven't seen any. I mean, everybody laughs at him when he does it too. It's like you would think as a grown man, you would realize what you sound like. Like, and then when people say, "Well, come to fucking a podcast," like Ring IQ said, like, come on my show. Make me look stupid, get your payback, all this other shit. Now it's no, I do my talking in person. So now first you list basically what I tweeted to him when I first saw the list. I said, this is your way. No, saying or making a list of people who made me look stupid without saying it. Basically is what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, everybody in this list made me look stupid.
Right.
So that's why I'm going to put them on a list.
Well,
and then you turn around when they invite you to a fucking debate, and you say you're gonna make it on the street. So, yeah.
Well, let me go to a phone call here, and then I want to get back to this subject because there's still more to say, especially as it regards the Charlo Munguia situation. So let's go to. Don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to 202. You're on the air. 202. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, BDA?
What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going, Jimmy? Oh,
Jim,
what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
You guys hear him? Not so bad. I just wanted to see what was you guys' thoughts about Terrence Crawford calling out Jermell Charlo.
I thought it was the other way around.
Well, he called out Jermell Charlo, saying that if he couldn't get the Spence fight, that he wanted to go after Jermell Charlo. And I don't know if it's he really wants that fight or if it's just publicity stunt.
Jimmy, what do you think? Have you heard anything? Because I thought it was that's hardly what I would consider a call out, right?
What's with Crawford and Charlo?
Yeah.
Or Charlo calling out Crawford? Well, I think it was maybe Charlo just trying to get first cracks at him because he knows it'd be good money. And at least the 154, the younger Charlo, he hasn't shown anything that he'll duck people, right? I mean, he's fought everybody that he's supposed to fight. So I believe he would fight Crawford, figuring he'd be the first one at 154. I mean, every time he goes up, Crawford goes up, he's going to lose a little bit of power. He's not going to be hitting as hard at 154 as he hits at at welterweight. So I think Charlo probably figures I'll have the size over him, the weight, and here's my big money fight. So I don't know. I would think that's it because I know there's rumors on Twitter that if he can't get a fight at 147, he's not going to hang around. He'll just go up to 154. But here's his problem. The PBC owns the landscape on both belts. Right, they have most of them under
on both
147. Yeah, exactly, 154. So he's kind of in a situation. He's already gone to the PBC. Tim T. Swizzle Smith straight up said, "We don't get the money. We didn't even make him an offer because we didn't want to insult him." So that tells you how much. You know what I mean? So he was probably after that, like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? So shouldn't have fucking did that lawsuit, man. That was stupid. He could have handled that after he retired. I guarantee you, he's already threatening, regretting that situation.
Well, caller, let me ask you, man. Who would you pick right now if they had to fight right now between Charlo and Crawford?
Hey, you know what? And this might sound. I honestly, in my opinion, I honestly think Crawford has a better chance of beating Jermell than he does Errol Spence, actually.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. You think it's just a lack of skills from Jermell?
I think it's the skills. I think it's the skills difference.
Interesting.
I think a lot of the skills that Errol Spence possesses, I think a lot of people go unnoticed. For instance, like looking back at that fight with Errol Spence and what's his name? I can't think of it right now.
Errol Spence
on the spot. Jesus Christ.
Danny Garcia, Sean Porter.
Sean Porter, there we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. I had a mental brain fart. But yeah, Sean Porter. Looking back at that fight, the third round, Errol display a lot of skills that people have always questioned him about, like his head movement, his ability to use his feet. In that third round, I seen him like display a lot of those skills, and which one of the things that I said about when it comes to Boots Ennis, is that I wonder if he fights out of necessity, like he picks and chooses what he's going to use, if he's going, because he opens himself up a lot. He opens himself up for a lot of shots, and I wonder if he tightens up his defense out of necessity. And I think Earl kind of does the same thing, kind of like plays down to the fighter that he's fighting.
I mean, listen, it would be interesting because Crawford would no longer have the strength advantage, the size advantage that he usually has over some of the other welterweights. So it would, I mean, your breakdown, it's interesting, and I'd like to see it, but who knows if it's going to happen, man. But in any event, good call, 202, and we got to move on here, but thank you for your call, and call back next time, right, man?
Good call, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, man. Catch you in the next one. Yeah, man, Jimmy, that I mean, it wasn't exactly a call out because it's just him saying, hey, if I'd like to fight this guy, that's what usually gets considered a call out now, because these guys just talk a lot on Twitter, as we were talking about. But going back to the whole Twitter thing that you were having, yeah, I was reading a little bit of the comments here, the thread there on Twitter. I just found out, like you told me a couple of days ago, that's actually called a thread. I didn't know that. But yeah, the thread there, and yeah, I mean, they're going after Michael Montero, Ring IQ, and I'm thinking, okay, so all the people that know boxing, essentially. That lets me know that these guys, like I said, look, the usual suspects out there who failed to cover Romancho Colatito Gonzalez fighting against Martinez and instead focus on dogfighting and on Snoop Dogg videos. I mean, I'm sorry. If I had to pick between them and Ring IQ and Montero, I'm going to go with Ring IQ and Montero and those other fellas that I even think they threw Mighty Max in there. Who's
Mighty Max. Yep.
I mean, come on. He's a huge boxing, as big a huge boxing fan as he gets.
Yeah, they go after everybody. Yeah, like I saw the people, and it's that T.Y. Philly. He's the one who started by asking, give me some names, because I guess that's his thing. Every month or so, he makes a list of and again, it's always the people. Well, not so much with him, because I went back and saw his list just to see, and it's a lot of personal stuff with him, but yeah,
did you notice,
kid, Jimmy, that's what it is, yeah.
Did you know, I just looked at the tweets, you said he does it once a month, and it's always at near the end of the month. What a coincidence. That time of the month, I guess. But listen,
it is so feminine. It's feminine. You know what I mean? It's a feminine trait.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess they just want to keep living in the hallucination that it's them against the world. They're that important. They're that important. They're that good. They're that cool. The rest of the world just has to bring them down. This is their theme song from now on, man.
Black man in a white man town. He's got trouble.
I mean, that's the way they look at it.
It's the victimhood industrial complex.
Mm. Oh yeah, that's a good way of putting it, man.
That's all it is, and that's. Yeah, I mean, these are the people who constantly, like, at the end of a thread, you'll always hear they'll check out with, but Floyd beat him, or they're bringing up Floyd. It's just that's what it's come down to. It's a lot of people. All right, these are the people who it seems like they're the same people, very just angry that Canelo's the face of boxing. Like it just seems to infuriate them. I mean, nobody in this straight. I'm disappointed with the Bivol fight. I'll be honest with you. I didn't want him to fight him. I wanted him to go with Charlo and Benavidez. I really, really did. And so I'm disappointed, but I'm not an idiot. Bivol is a much tougher fight than Charlo. There's a reason why Mike Montero, like you said, he did that poll. Over 4,000 people responded. And 6% had Charlo beating Bivol. So you know what I mean? It's boxers fans know,
right?
But it's a small, tiny, and they're loud because they're on. Like you'll see them. They'll start a page. For instance, one of these guys I just saw you. I mean, he started December 2021. Okay, he's got 18,000 tweets.
What the
like 18,000 tweets. Yeah, right. I mean, like, Christ, I think I hit after 6 years, and mine are mostly retweets. It just, and this kid's just pop 24 hours a day, said do it. So what does that tell you? They obviously don't have a job. So when you're not
Jimmy, come on,
working, no, but let's be honest. I mean, 24 hours, dude. It's always the same dudes answering the tweets, and it's, you know what I mean. No matter what time of day, you know what I mean. They're on fucking Twitter, so they're arguing, and it seems like it's a more people than it actually is. It's just a small subset of, and they chase good people away from Twitter too.
Absolutely.
And I'm not just saying because I'm pretty much not on it anymore. A lot of people now, I talk to now and then just in DMs, but that's it. They don't fucking tweet. They're like, it's a cesspool of anger.
Indeed, yeah, it's a cesspool of anger, and there's a lot of frustration too. You can just read it. It oozes from the screen, man. And I gotta tell you, there's some of these things here, but you gotta be a little bit nice, Jimmy, because you're a little bit too, you're a little bit rough around the edges yourself.
Be fucking nice. Be nice.
There you go, Jimmy. I'm warning you, man. You gotta be nice. But listen, now onto the boxing aspect of it. I think a lot of this also started because, and I'm curious, I don't really understand what the issue was. Supposedly the Munguia-Charlo negotiations, as per Mike Coppinger, are falling apart because what's going on? Yeah,
I guess they've fallen apart totally, supposedly. But what did he say? Okay, so he said sources: the Jamal Charlo Jamie Munguia deal that fell apart contained a rematch clause. In the event Charlo lost and exercised it, DAZN would own the sole broadcast rights to the second bout with Munguia. And then Steven Espinoza quote tweeted that. Simple, fair solution. As the champion and the side initiating the deal and paying for the fight, the Charlo side, TGB, chooses the network for the next, for the first fight. If Munguia wins, then GBA Munguia controls the rematch and can take it to DAZN whatever the networks they choose. But isn't that what they're saying? Isn't that what he's saying? I mean, I don't. Oh, okay. All right. So he's saying in the first one, if Charlo lost, an event Charlo lost, it exercise. Yeah. So I don't understand. That's exactly what he's saying. If Munguia wins, then he gets the control of the rematch.
Here's the tweet.
The source died.
Here's the tweet I got. It says sources. It's like Coach Malachi says, as per sources, sources say the Jamal Charlo Jaime Munguia deal that fell apart contained a rematch clause. In the event Charlo lost and exercised it, DAZN would own the sole. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, DAZN would own the sole broadcast rights for the second bout. So I suspect somebody up there didn't like it. And then Espinosa said, like you said, simple, fair solution. As a champion and the side initiating the deal and paying for the fight, the Charlo side chooses the network for the first fight. If Munguia wins, then Munguia and Golden Boy controls the rematch and can take it to DAZN or whatever other network. I mean, look, Munguia. What else are they gonna do with the fucker? He's not gonna fight Golovkin because Golovkin's probably gonna go another way unless Canelo loses to Bivol, which I think that's actually what's gonna happen. But in any event, they seem to have all these things already booked. So why not?
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think they were ever gonna make that fight. I didn't think they were gonna. That's why I didn't. When they first announced it, when we talked about it, I really didn't say almost next to nothing about it. I never saw this fight coming to fruition. I just didn't.
You think it's too much work to do between DAZN?
Yeah, it's just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's going to work with fucking Golden Boy and DAZN? Like, what's going on?
Well, now look.
Everything's been kept in-house, so I don't know.
DAZN right now, they're starting to get into the pay-per-view world, and one of the guys who's in the up and up there in management in DAZN came out a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Listen, we're not gonna lie. That's why we said when we started DAZN, we said we were gonna get away from the pay-per-view model, and now we're back, but we got no choice." So it seems like the door is open now. That door has been open, but they're
going to take it in the ring. A lot of people are going to bail on that. I know I will. I'm paying you, charging me $20 a month, but now you want to fucking hit me over the head. $20. I mean, you're barely putting on the stuff. Honestly, for what I've been getting from the DAZN, it's barely keeping my attention if I was getting it for free. Tonight was a decent fight, but 100 and fucking, you know what I mean? What, $40 a year? Actually, what I did was re-up it, which is, don't even get me going, dude. They kicked it. I originally joined for the year because if you do that instead of $20 a month, it's 11 or 8. No, 8, right? So $8 a month if you pay for the year in advance. I did that, and I even said, following year, just I hit the box for automatic re-up. The sons of bitches didn't automatic re-up me. It wasn't until actually this week when I asked my girl, I'm like, hey, check what the zone's charging me just in case. She goes, oh, they've been charging us for the past 7 months, $20 a month. I'm like, them fucking maggots. So yeah, they just didn't re-up me. So I just re-upped again to the $8 a month. But even still, I'm doing it because I don't want to kick out, bail yet. There better be a substantial, and I'm like, even giving into that makes me sick.
Yeah.
If it's anything more than like $20 for pay-per-view, 29 tops, and it's not that I can't afford it, dude. I'm not crying poor like
Sounds
a
like you
punk
are.
or anything. I'm just
I love
saying.
that.
Well, I'm all right. It's not even it's principle with me, dude. I don't give a fuck about money. I'm an asshole. I overtip everybody. I'm not, you know what I mean? I am. I'm just, that's who I've always been that way, right? I'm not a cheap dude. But the thing is, and I love boxing, so I'll spend it. My girl, she'll always never talk about anything when it comes to that. But for them to turn around, and the whole thing was, listen, get the app that's going to do away with the pay-per-view model, which I've wanted to see go away for a long time because it holds the sport back. And we're talking the apps. That's, the new looking forward. I'm like, finally, the boxing's catching up to the real world, and this is the way we're going. And all of a sudden, and again, DAZN, well, because we had to, no, you had to, asshole, because you overpaid these shitbags. For no fucking reason. Nobody told you to give Gennady Golovkin $30 million to fight Steve Rolls. The fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, they screwed up, and I mean paying Mikey Garcia $7 million for that Jesse Vargas fight.
For Vargas, and because of that, so it's all. And again, it all. If they would have started right and handled this right, they wouldn't be in this situation to begin with. They wouldn't have pissed through, because I'm sure Eddie Hearn got X amount of dollars to work with. And when he went back with hat in hand saying, I'm already out of the money. And they're like, wait a minute, what? And how many subscribers do we got? So that's why I remember he was kind of like, it seemed like he was on, the zone might even fold, some people were saying a year ago. But so,
no, but
they're in this position for themselves.
I'm right there with you
because
I'm right there with you because look, it's not going to break the bank now that Canelo's on pay-per-view, but it's not a good look either way. Either way they cut this, it wasn't going to be a good look because we already had Canelo on the zone. Now all of a sudden you're gonna charge us. So there was no way people were gonna go, yeah, I'm cool with that, since we had him on for the regular the zone subscription. And it's a little scary too because they're opening the door for this now. And we already have the PPC, which everything is pay-per-view over there, almost everything. We've got ESPN2 doing pay-per-views, and now the zone's jumping on. So all three of the major applications, networks, whatever you want to call them, are back on the pay-per-view train. And I thought we were getting away from that.
It's hurting us. It's going to hurt the sport. Absolutely. These assholes. It's like you see it's like a train wreck is going to happen. And it's like you wait for everybody to do something to prevent it, and it's like they can't even stop it. They just can't even help themselves from destroying the sport at this point.
Now, if I may say something a little controversial here, Jamie, because look, listen. Yes, it's a bad sign now that the pay-per-views are coming back, but I don't want to paint a gloomy picture here and say that it's all gloom and doom. There are ways you can watch the fights now without having those subscriptions. So at the end of the day, and I'm not going to say what they are. Let me just play a sound effect here to illustrate what I'm talking about. But I think you already know what I mean, man. It's
yeah, but the thing is, when you start, I've avoided doing that because first off, you can run into problems, thing gets shut down, freeze up on you. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, and my thing is, if I support a fighter, I'm going to support what he's doing. But this is just ridiculous. I mean, they're making, if you think about the subscriptions, say they got, if you listen to what they say, they pulled down the night of one of the Canelo fights, 260,000 new subscribers, yearly subscribers. So that means they either bought for the year. So I would imagine that's what they meant. So that's 260,000 times say $100 right there. Right? That's a lot of ching. So you start doing shit like that, and then you turn around and we're going to now charge because he went over to PBC. That was the part of the thing that sucked. He was going to do over the PBC. So now we're going to have to pay to see Canelo. And then he goes back to the zone and they want to charge us. It's low rent. Bad business.
You know what, man? Hold on a sec. Yeah, Robert Gallegos in the chat says, I stream every fight. He's just being open about it. He goes, hey, listen, I mean, look, there's two ways to love looking at it. Without pay-per-views, some of these fights can be made. But at the same time, you're overpaying these fighters. So people are fighting back the only way they can, and that is to go to the less than stellar or clean way. And you know what? Right. You got to do what you got to do, man. First, you do what they tell you, and first you do what they tell you.
Just imagine, like, if just 10 years ago, I just picture watching boxing back in the 90s, and someone would say, this is, this two talent guys at this level of talent of Davis, where he is right now, and Rolly Romero. This is in the sport. In 20 years from now, guys, you'll be paying $80 to watch these two fight. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't believe them. You just wouldn't believe. You're like, get the fuck out of here. So we'll be dead if that happens. Like, it's so shocking to me, because pay-per-view is always the pinnacle. That means if you're on a pay-per-view, you've reached the pinnacle of boxing. That means motherfuckers will go to bars and pay $20 cover charges. And, and these guys used to pull down big money with all that side shit going on back then too. But it wasn't abused at all. I mean, you would only have one or two pay-per-views. If once a year, you'd have a pay-per-view sometimes. Sometimes you go a whole year without one, because you couldn't just, I don't know. HBO getting out of this screwed it, and now the DAZN seems like they have weak management.
Look, the
capable of just going to anything.
The DAZN, they're doing it for Joshua and Canelo only so far, and that makes sense. That makes sense.
Once they open the door, forget it. It's like the government; they never give back things, rights. You know what I mean? Right. They're not going to ever stop doing it now that they started. They're not going to shut the door on that.
That's what worries me. Yeah, because history tends to, like you said, history tends to show that they don't actually dial it back. I mean, they dialed it back for a while when the apps first started, but ESPN said, no pay-per-view. They were doing pay-per-views. The Zone said no pay-per-view. They're doing pay-per-views. And the BBC are doing mostly pay-per-views because they got no choice with the empty coffers.
They have no money. Empty coffers and no time slots. So you understand where they're coming from. As long as nobody buys a pay-per-view, that's going to collapse. I mean, you got fighters going on. And for Broner to go out and say that, I'm telling you right now, and then what did we see after that? Broner in a wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that. Now, why would he be in a wheelchair? And there was no physical injuries on him.
Wait a minute. What are you trying to get at? What are you trying to get at here?
I think he's trying to play a mental breakdown, because I think he put himself in a lot of trouble with Al Heyman, because Al Heyman holds his money. Al Heyman has all his money, like millions supposedly, and back pay that he's paying him, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what it part of, if there's certain clauses inside there, because they have the non-disclosure. They cannot say nothing negative about Al Heyman, the PBC, or any of its product. For him to go out there and he's already been told, because he even said, I can't say too much because I'm about to get a call from Al Heyman. Remember when he said that? Yeah. That's no joke. I mean, the same thing with Chris Colbert when he said that shit about Wilder, and one of Wilder's people were, creeping on YouTube like a weirdo, calls Al, oh man, he's saying shit about fucking Deontay. You know what I mean? And then Dante's people, all his fans, it wasn't Dante who called. Yeah, no shit, it wasn't him who called. It was somebody from the fucking PBC office. And not only did Colbert, you didn't hear anything about Wilder anymore. You didn't hear anything from him. Mm-hmm. He suddenly just fucking went away. You know what I mean? He was, you know what I mean? So, yeah, no, that's a big deal. And I think that fucking Broner's going to try to pull some mental breakdown for two reasons: to keep from getting his money kept from Al Heyman, and to keep from going to jail for that fucking lawsuit he owes, the 800 Lodge.
Do you think, are you saying you expect Adrian Broner one of these days to go into court or something and do the old peanut butter in the ass crack trick? Try to make it seem like is that what you're saying?
Well, he'll have paperwork like that. He had to check into if he fakes a mental breakdown, because when you're under mental distress, you'll say, okay, I made those comments under mental distress. I checked into a hospital. I was having a breakdown. Mm-hmm. That will hold up in court. The court isn't going to hold you for your words if you're in a mental breakdown. That's part of the things of being, mental people we're saying shit. So they would keep him, because literally he said, this is not speculation. I'm not guessing. It's not my opinion. He has gone on and said, I don't want my money given to me like this anymore. I want, this piecemeal is bullshit. Right. And he even said when he was talking about that, I shouldn't be saying this.
No.
So I'm sure he got yelled at then. So think about it. So this was probably Heyman probably sent the lawyer. If I had a lawyer call him, dude, we're keeping you fucking. It said if you said anything again, we were going to fine you $250,000. Who knows? Or just tie up his money. We're taking you to court. Just some bullshit because Heyman. I mean, that motherfucker lives in court. He don't care. He's got he's got lawyers working for him full time. So. Yeah, I think that recent picture in a wheelchair, you watch. I'm just saying, again, it's all speculation, but don't be surprised if that comes out that he's having some mental breakdown, and that would be one of the reasons.
Yeah, that's going to be Adrian Broner in court, man.
Yeah, this is a fucking podcast. You're supposed to say hot takes and crazy shit, right?
Well,
but you watch, half the times conspiracy theories come true.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Imagine he goes to court and he tries to represent himself. Like, Your Honor, I have been unjustly incarcerated because of the color on my skin. As a proud black man, it's like, oh boy, here. Why do they always do that? Why do all those guys that represent themselves in court always got to give a long spiel about injustice and the history? It's like, man.
Jesse Smollett, did you see that yesterday when he was sentenced to 150 days of jail?
Yeah.
I am not suicidal. Like, dude, who do you think you are? Nobody gives a fuck about you. You know what I mean? He was doing that as for his last performance, going off to jail, and then fucking, put his hand up, and then his sister yelled, "Stop putting black men in jail." Like, okay, imagine. Okay, so yeah, do you realize what he did? If you even sat back, the judge was actually great. I mean, fucking, your name will forever be synonymous with liars. Your level of narcissism to plan something like that, knowing that his family is all about social justice. He was raised in a silver spoon, a politically. So he had all the advantages any kid could ever have. And what he did, and again, this wasn't like he was going to pull this to help. Like, I got to do something to stop these black kids getting killed in the streets. No, this was to further his career.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason, 100%, that's what it was for, because that's why first was the letter he sent from, the company. But it's just disgusting, and to have that the black view, like, I don't know what it's called, it's The Voice or something. Anyways, but Amanda Seals, Steve Kim tweeted about her. It's so outrageous that she said this. She called what he did a noble act. Even if it was a hoax, it was a noble act, because this happens every day. It's like, that is just, I tweeted about it. I just said, fuck, if they kick me off, I don't give a fuck.
You know what else happens almost every day? This type of hoaxes. And like the judge said, this type of stuff actually hurts the people that actually endure this. And may I just say, too, I want to play a little clip here. This is what the judge told Justice Smollett, and I thought it was very apropos.
Liar, whore, and you know it.
To the point, right to the point, that judge. I got to give it up to him. Yeah, but first of all, and by the way, he brought in the whole lineup of people to speak on his behalf. Smollett did. The grandmother, the person in the wheelchair, the guy with Down syndrome. And the thing that they always say, one of them said, like you said, stop sending black men to jail. Does this guy look like a black guy to you? He's more white than black, if you ask me. I'm blacker than he is.
And you had Jesse Jackson, the actor Samuel Jackson, write letters on his behalf.
Yeah.
It's like, you tied your fucking credibility to this piece of shit. I mean, the dude's a piece of shit. He was trying to create a race war. Like shit isn't already, fucked up enough, like, to do that. And then again, whatever, you're a sick fuck, move on. But to have people in black culture saying not only wasn't it a bad thing, it was a noble thing. Then to justify saying that, they fucking spread more lies, because it's happening all the time when that's not the case at all. You know what I mean? Let's statistical facts. White people are 28 times more likely to be violently assaulted
all right, Jimmy,
by a black person.
You're going down that. You're going down that fucking.
I'm just reading what was off Twitter.
And by the way,
dude, I know I should
just to conclude this whole.
After a while, it's hard.
Just to conclude this segment, just to conclude this segment, you said as if things weren't bad enough. I want them to be worse, man. Let's go. Let's fucking do it already. If it's gonna happen, I want it to happen now, man. Let's enjoy the party while it's here. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, listen. In terms of that, what you said about the Charlo Munguia thing, this is what De La Hoya said. I don't know if you heard this. He said, finalizing Charlo versus Munguia is a top priority. Golden Boy remains committed to our partner, The Zone. The Zone Boxing understands the magnitude of this fight and is willing and able to collaborate with Showtime Sports to get this done. I hope Showtime is on board. But then other people called him out for saying, well, wait a minute, why weren't you doing the same thing with Andrade and blah, blah, blah. So what do you think, Jimmy? Is this whole thing going to fall apart?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. You're right. I want to apologize too for getting heated because it just doesn't paint
Jimmy,
me in the
you never
right.
have to.
No,
you don't have
I just
to apologize,
because it doesn't paint me in the right light. Because it just hurts after a while. It makes your heart hurt. That's all, dude.
Hey, by the way, the blame
to be lied about all the time.
The blame Triggs in the chat says someone couldn't wait for Black History Month to be over. Shake my head.
See, that's what I mean, right? Yeah, see, that's it. No, but as somebody who the lies are constantly being perpetrated about, when it's my people that they're constantly lying about, it hurts bad enough that you said that was noble what he did. So it tells me how much you hate me for the color of my skin.
Well,
which
hold on,
sucks.
Jimmy.
And then it is what it is, but then it's the lies and it just hurts, dude. There's
also people on your side. There's also people on your side. Burgess Meredith is saying, BDA, let Jimmy talk. The truth is the truth. Hey, you got supporters and detractors, Jimmy. It happens to the best of us. That's the way it's supposed to be. Some people agree with you. Yeah. Some people disagree. And by the way,
and I know there's vile, racist white people too. I know that. It's disgusting on both sides. So it is what it is. But I hate because you know why, dude? We tiptoe around it, but it affects so much of what we talk about, the culture of boxing. And it drags the ugliness out of everybody. You know what I mean? And it just does, because then, you know what I'm saying? But I just wish we could just be more about boxing. I know some parts of it can be entertainment. We get some laughs here and there. But sometimes it just gets to the point where it's like, all right, man, just say what you fucking want to say, dude. No, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about these people with Canelo. When they start just making up these horrible lies about him and they just keep spreading the same misinformation, you find yourself arguing the same points or in the same calls or whatever. It's just like, no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. And you get to the point where like you're fucking banging your head off a wall. Like, why bother anymore?
I mean,
yes, that's the point. Weigh you down.
I've been this way since I was born. I'd argue with a goddamn rock and then try to beat it up.
I mean, yeah, that's the way some people act, man. And by the way, as a transracial man, I'm all the way on board with the black agenda, man.
Be black, baby, be black.
That's right. All right. Jimmy, we got a phone call here. Let's go to phone call. Let's see what's going on here. 310, you're on the air. 310, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Yeah, this is Boom Boom guy. And,
Boom Boom.
As soon as I come in, I hear Jimmy on his rant again. Not surprised by that. But yeah, I'll keep it boxing. I know how Jimmy is. But yeah, I actually have a confession to make.
Go ahead.
I was
this is
on
the right
a
place.
show, I think 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys, sorry, I was at the gym, but you guys were talking about LDBC. I didn't know what LDBC was, but after doing my research, turns out I'm LDBC.
No kidding.
And
there you go.
Hey, I listened to him for about 3 hours. Well, everyone's claiming LDBC, but I think it's a few people who express their opinions. And really, I listened to them for about 3 hours, and they spit nothing but facts.
That's right.
I just think you guys have... Yeah, I mean, there's arguments about everything, but I think what they're doing and what they're saying is basically, I don't see any lies about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, if they want to do that, that's fine. I've been on this. And Bucho and Jimmy have been here for longer, but on the YouTube scene. But I've been trying to look for an equivalent of the LDBC, like a white equivalent, and I can't find it. So they're quite the anomaly, I must say.
Because I've seen, because we see Devin Haney and Canelo talking. It's not a black agenda. That's like what I'm not getting from that. Like, they have their opinions on Wilder. Yes, most of those guys were rooting for Wilder. But a lot of people I listen to say, no, Wilder lost.
Well, the LDBC mission page. Well, the LDBC's mission page, the LDBC's missions page, the reason why they got together and was created was to protect black people from being called NIGG, you know the rest. So that's exactly what they said when they first started. It was So because they say they wanted to make a safe space for black people to support black fighters. So the race was from the beginning the sole reason behind the LDBC.
Well, Jimmy, I mean, you can look at this chat room. I've been on plenty, of these shows, and they're typing nigger. I'll say it. You guys want to say?
Oh, yeah, listen. People chat. People write. Yeah, people write that shit. It's funny. Yeah, people write that stuff. That's I don't write that stuff. I don't condone it. That's what people say in chats. I'm just saying my rant was very simple, man. What Smart did was fucking horrible. And to have people go on TV and say it was noble is a disgusting thing. And if that's a rant, if that's being racist, then yep, I guess that's racist.
No, and by the way, it's not racist. You just made some ill-advised points because the majority of black people were laughing at him. We knew he was clearly lying. Dave Chappelle made a skit about it. No one believed Jesse. No one thought it was right. Like, it didn't even sound right. That he wore the news for like 2 days.
All right, but hold on. Can I interject? Because we're getting away from the boxing here. I just want to defend the chat room here. Look, this chat room that we have is quite a peculiar thing indeed, because if you look at the chat room, there's only King Bucho has a wrench. I think Stu still has a wrench. Precise doesn't come around anymore, but he has a wrench. And that's really about it. Well, I have a wrench, obviously, because I'm the owner. There's not now. If you go to the LDBC, they got tons of wrenches, and anytime somebody says something that one of those people with the wrenches disagrees with, boom, they get taken out. Here, we don't have that many moderators, and even then, I don't see that many people saying the N-word. Like I usually try to keep an eye on the chat, maybe sometimes more than I should, instead of paying attention to the guys here. I don't see the N-word. But hold on, caller. I don't see the N-word being thrown around as liberally as you claim.
I actually blocked the word. You can't even type it because I blocked it.
There you go.
A long time ago. So you
from...
cannot even type it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, just go back to 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. It's not my platform. If you guys wanted to get bigger, obviously, you guys would kind of get canceled if you guys keep letting these things, like Joe Rogan,
But caller, I just told you that the word, and Butcher just told you, the word is actually banned. If you have a YouTube channel, you can actually put a list of banned words, and that's one of them. So the algorithm immediately works so that if somebody writes it, you can see it.
Well, I'm not stuck on that, but there are more ways to say it. You put one letter in at a time, or you spell it backwards.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it. I haven't.
Well, you need to provide evidence for that. You need to provide evidence because I haven't seen that.
Oh, I can screenshot you if you want to protect your channel more. I can show you, but I'm not pressed on it. I don't care.
All right, so hold on. Can I just say you brought up the? Can I just say you brought up the N-word, and now you're saying it doesn't matter. So let's move on from that then. If it doesn't matter.
No, Jimmy brought up the N-word. Jimmy said LDBC was created so.
Yeah, but you said you've seen it, and then when we asked you evidence, you say, well, I'll provide it later, and then you said also it doesn't matter. So you'll provide the evidence, but it doesn't matter. So
no, it's there. I'm telling you, it's there. If you want it off, you can go to your video. And I was on a show, and they kept typing it as I was talking.
Yeah, and I've also
I don't
seen.
care about that.
I've also seen people, and I'll tell you what. On the rare occasion where somebody does do something like that, I always notice it's not one of our regulars. It's always some weird name that pops out of nowhere.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And it gets as we try to ban them as soon as possible. So this whole thing about how we're letting that like Jimmy said, it seems like when the LDBC started doing that, they were playing the victim card. Oh, we got to segregate ourselves because people are saying the N-word. I mean, come on, that seems like a cop out to me. It seems like also that there might have been.
Heard that.
Well, I've heard it. I've seen them. I mean, come on, they segregated themselves. And the reality was
you're new to the LDBC. Apparently, you're new to the LDBC. You said you just started following them a few weeks ago.
That's what I said. I didn't know you guys. I heard them from you.
We've been following
I never heard about them
for years. We've been following the LDBC for years. All right, and you missed the whole Wilder Fury drama that they were creating. I mean, they were saying that Fury cheated. Man, do you believe that Fury cheated with a floppy glove in the second fight?
So. For the second fight, I was shocked of the way that Tyson Fury beat Wilder, and I did see the picture of the gloves, but I just couldn't see how those gloves can be tampered with.
so I didn't believe he cheated, and I actually think that's why Wilder lost the third fight, because he didn't adjust. He just thought Fury cheated, so he didn't change his game plan. He just tried to do what he does better.
All right, a lot of all of the major LDB channels went along with that story, the story that Fury cheated. So you obviously don't really agree with LDBC because
in Bucho, the number one sold shirt, it even made mainstream outside of the boxing sphere, was Dead Men, and it showed a skeleton of Fury in a coffin, and his left hand's hanging out of the coffin with a glove and a chunk of metal falling through. And it sold tens of thousands.
Yeah, the LDBC.
And this was all started
from a doctor.
They don't know shit about boxing.
Well, listen.
They started that.
Can I just say, to be fair, Butcher's the one that did that, because people like to group us together. Butcher's the one that did those videos making fun of the LDBC. I try to stay away from the LDBC as much as possible. I don't follow them because if I'm here, it's because I want to talk boxing. And those guys want to talk boxing, but they want to talk about the racial aspect of it more. I mean, look, if you really wanted to talk boxing, you would have talked about I'm not saying you, Color, but I'm saying the overall LDBC. They would have talked about the fight we just had, which is probably going to be fight of the year, or at least one of the candidates. Last week, we had Chocolatito, the legend, in a very good fight against Martinez. They didn't talk about that. So that's what I try to stick to boxing. They want to do something else, and that's why they get so many views. So, I mean, it is what it is. If people want to enjoy that type of talk, hey, there's something out there for everybody. That's my opinion on that.
Well, yeah, the few videos I watched, it wasn't about race. It was just about, them talking boxing. They praise people from many races, to be honest. Canelo, Benavides, Bivol, like, they give them high praise. So I don't see a bias, not just the channels I watch.
Chocolatito, one of the only few handfuls of first ballot guaranteed Hall of Famers still fighting today, fought Saturday, and none of the top LDBC channels talked about it before the fight or even after the fight.
Yeah,
somebody explain that to me. One of the best fighters fighting today, they don't even talk about it. Why is that?
Listen, I can't speak on this too much because, like I said, I haven't watched that. The only thing is I perused the thumbnails last week to see if they were covering the Chocolatito fight. But, Butcher, you would know better than I do. I mean, do they praise Canelo for the most part over there at the LDBC, at least the big channels, or?
I haven't been following them anymore.
Okay.
Got boring.
Well, I can't disagree then, or agree, because I don't know if it's true or not. But
I saw one channel, they were saying he was avoiding Charlo. He was ducking Charlo and he was ducking Andrade. So that's kind of funny.
No, Charlo ducks too, though. So I can't. Canelo went a different. See, when Canelo does things, I give him the high praise because he's going for undisputed. He's moving up. So, but if he was stayed in the same division as Charlo and didn't fight him, then I would call it a duck. But Canelo's all about legacy.
Right.
So I wouldn't fault Canelo for going elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, listen, one thing you'll notice by listening to this channel is we try to stick to the actual boxing. And when I say boxing, I'm talking about the action inside the ring. And of course, every once in a while, we'll talk about the negotiations and all that because that is part of the sport. But other channels, especially the ones we're talking about, LDBC, they like to talk about who's avoiding who. And it's usually based off of tweets and articles and a lot of conjecture. And that can be fun, but it can also get old very quickly. And it's very easy to inject a narrative to those point of views and, make it about race. So that's just, it's fun. It can be amusing sometimes, but for the most part, if you really want to get down to it, you should stick to the boxing itself because the action in the ring doesn't lie. At some point, anyone can say these guys.
Yeah. I would say one thing about that is when you're a champion, you're the champ. You're supposed to be on top. You're not supposed to be scared of anybody. Sometimes in negotiations, it's like you're not going for the top dog or someone who perceived as a dangerous fight. So that would be a duck to me, Especially if someone's holding a belt or you're fighting someone who's been inactive for over a year, like Cambosa going after Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia pulled out 2 fights. So he shouldn't even be touched right now.
Look, I agree. If he's trying to go after Ryan Garcia, that's not a good move. But from what I just read, apparently he's still trying to get. This is a crazy move, but he's still trying to get Loma, even though he might, knock on wood, but Loma might not end up coming out of the Ukraine alive. So at this point, he should be going after Devin Haney. But see, that's the thing that bothered me, though. When he was going to go after Lomachenko initially, and he still wants to, apparently, and some people were saying, especially those usual suspects, he's ducking Haney. I was like, well, you can't call it a duck when you're going after a guy that's more proven inside the ring.
Yeah, but the thing is, Loma lost to the guy you beat. So it's kind of like, it's Loma shouldn't be on top of the list.
I agree, but I would have agreed.
That fight.
Well, listen, I would have agreed if he would have lost, and that's it. If he would have lost against Lopez, and then Kambosos beats Lopez, and Loma hadn't done anything since then, I would agree with you. But Loma has fought since then, and he's looked quite impressive against guys that are about as good or even better than those that Devin Haney beat. So there's an argument there to be made for Lomachenko. Also, Lomachenko lost to Lopez, but it's also how he lost. He didn't get schooled. He didn't get beat 10 rounds.
It was unanimous.
Was that?
It wasn't split, though. It was unanimous.
Right, but I mean, come on. One of the judges only gave Loma 2 rounds or 3, I believe. I mean, that's a bad scorecard right there. I think if based on what you saw in the ring, you can't tell me you only gave Loma 3 rounds.
I mean, how much people? Well, I wouldn't say only 3 rounds, but how much people praise Loma and his, extensive amateur background. I don't know why he's losing, fights.
Well, do you think the shoulder had something to do with it?
I thought he was one of the greatest. What was that?
Do you think the shoulder had something to do with it?
Yeah, and I thought Tio was hurt in his fight too. So that's why I'm saying I don't count Kambosa as actually a champion.
Well, that's the thing, though. Well, I mean, but hold on. That's what Lopez, see, that's the hypocrisy there. Lopez said, Loma's bringing up the shoulder as an excuse. That's low. And he said that's one of the reasons why I'm giving him a rematch, because he's acting like an ass. And then he goes back and does the same thing. Isn't it possible that there's two possibilities? Either one of them is lying or they're both lying, you know what I mean? Or you got to take into account the fact that when a guy is injured, it will affect his performance. And that's what I'm saying about Loma is, look, Kambosos right now is the champ, and if he wants to go against Loma instead of Devin Haney, you can't say that that's a duck, because Loma is just as dangerous, if not more, than Haney. See, that's the type of argument I hear from the
you're right. As a Devin Haney fan, and it would be, the WBC and all the boxing stations said it would be an undisputed bout. So that's for a legacy. And Kambosa preached about he don't care about money. He wants to fight for legacy. So that's the only, iffy thing. Like you said, no money, it's about legacy. It doesn't get bigger than undisputed bouts.
But see, that's the other thing sorry about that. Yeah, so the belt thing. It's people go, well, it's for undisputed, but it's not. I mean, we've gone through this ad nauseum in this podcast, and other people have as well. It's not a real belt he has. Look, for all intents and purposes, Devin Haney is not a champion. He's a contender. So is Loma. The real champ is Kambosos. So whether a guy has the IBO belt, the WBA, the WBF, whatever, it's the undisputed moniker. It's not that real. He is the undisputed guy. Undisputed means there's no dispute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Suleiman came out and said it again recently that Kambosos is the champion in that weight class. The WBC looks at him first as the champion. You know what I mean? But he can't, because that belt still exists. But what's that?
That's the thing. There can't be 4 champions. That's the problem with this. That's why in this channel I try to avoid that whole talk about, well, who's the number 1 mandatory for the WBC? Who's the number 1 mandatory for the IBF? Who cares? There's not only is there a WBC belt, there's 3 variations, right? I think there's the interim, there's the franchise now, and then there's the WBC. The WBA, they have 2 as well. So in total, there's 5 champions. I mean, there can't be 5 champions or something. Imagine in the NBA, we got 5 champions. No, you don't. You're only supposed to have 1 guy who wins the playoffs.
Oh. And I just don't know why he would have even taken that belt. If they would have offered it to me, I wouldn't have taken it. I would have said, no way, because I would have known the bullshit that was going to come with it. You don't fight somebody for it, and they just hand you a championship belt. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? It's just not a good look. And then, then throw your name in the bullshit. It's just why?
Well, can I say real quick, just to explain to people out there that might not be familiar, The reason why these sanctioning bodies started coming out with so many variations to their belts is so they can charge the sanctioning fee. That's all they're into. They're in this for the money. They're a business. And the fighters themselves are at fault because they, like Jimmy said, why did he accept the belt? Well, it's because they get the belt and then they can promote the guy as a champion and they can promote his fights as championship fights.
Use it as leverage for fights.
Exactly. There you go. So that's why I tend not to take them too seriously. The alphabet.
Did you hear what Bob Arum said about Undisputed?
No.
He said he doesn't want any of his fighters fighting for Undisputed because they have to pay so much to all the sanctioning bodies, which is correct. But it goes back to him not providing his fighters with the biggest fights.
I don't know, but
so I agree with Bob Arum, but
what do you mean biggest fights? You mean one fighter, Crawford? That's all you're talking about, and it's in a division. No, it's Crawford is who you're talking about. Because other than that, Lomachenko. I mean, this kid. Nobody's fighting the level of competition he's been fighting. And then on top of that, he was also paying Crawford better than any welterweight in boxing, more than double what the next welterweight was getting in guaranteed purses. So, yeah, no, he couldn't do anything. And then Spence just came out. There's a tape going around now where he said, "Yeah, what I did was I was stringing him along. I get an ego, telling him he had to do this, and if he got this belt, I'd fight him, knowing I wasn't going to fight him, type shit or whatever." But that's coming out because he knows it. It's been on him for not making that fight, which I don't think it's on him as much as it's Heyman. But it's not Bob because he makes the fights with everybody else.
No one truly. That's the bad thing. No one truly knows whose fault it is because it's a negotiation, and someone can say, "Hell, it was him." But Bob Arum just
by what Spence said. But Spence said that on a podcast, though. He said that I did dick him around. In essence, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what the essence of what he said was. I was playing games. I get an ego and shit. But again, these guys' hands are tied. You see what's going on with Brown. I don't know. Were you listening before, or was it just my rant that you heard? But he's fucking showing up in wheelchairs. But he came out and said that the guys at the PBC aren't getting their money that's been promised to them because everything's going to pay-per-view and people aren't buying that shit. So there's problems over there.
They're streaming it for free. Yeah. That's why Floyd Mayweather said no one's going to break his records because fraud is at an all-time high. Yeah, the pay-per-view is not going to sell when you can watch it for free.
So that's just the thievery alone has destroyed the market, but we need to get away from it. But the PBC's got issues. They're going to end up either on an app like the DAZN, or they're going to have to sign with a network because right now they have Fox is obviously not doing anything with them anymore other than whatever pay-per-views they have promised to them. But everything's going to be on Showtime. But now that because they put Showtime as a second-class citizen, when they first signed that deal with Fox, all the good fights, their fights all went to Fox. And Showtime got played second fiddle and it was offered like the Areola fight that they turned down. So all of a sudden they went into bed with Bellator. So a lot of their budget's sucked up into that now, so they're not going to have as many slots. So Heyman's got to do something because you can't keep that many fighters this inactive, and it's because it's starting to have an effect on their careers.
Hey, sorry, fellas, I had to dip out for 2 minutes. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention, like, this celebrity boxing is ruining everything because, guys will rather fight a UFC fighter than actually a boxer. And they're making more money than, most active boxers off one fight.
Well, if they keep it relegated to guys who are retired, I don't really care. I mean, who knows, could even bring people to the game of boxing. That's how desperate the sport is for the eyes. But as long as it's, people not in the sport, if you see people actually talking about fighting outside of the sport, then fuck them. They should have the belt taken off them.
Well, listen, I mean, there's plenty to say on both sides, but caller, we do have to move on. But thank you for your call, and try to drop by again for the Open Lines Friday.
Thanks for the call, man.
All right,
take it easy, man. All right, let me just read a couple of super chats real quick because we're running out of time here. Shout out to Uncle Pete for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Allah is blushing. I don't know what he was referencing to, maybe something we were saying earlier. And Shout out to Boxing Expert for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Viva Mr. Bucho for uploading content on Spotify. Also, you guys are the shit. Canelo, the pound for pound, Gallo Güero. Okay, well, shout out to Boxing Expert. Yes, indeed. Really appreciate your contribution, and we're glad you enjoyed the show, man. Shout out to everybody on the panel and in the chat
Thank
for
you,
entertaining.
brother.
Yes, always appreciated,
Yes,
man.
thank you for the guys, yeah.
And shout out to Uncle Pete again for his contribution with the super chat. Says, hate like hell to disappoint your gods, bro, but Loma is the best at 135. Oh, okay. He was saying I love that thing because of Devin Haney, who's shout out to Uncle Pete. What else did Haney do? He's got a bunch of jewelry, which I think is against the whole fucking what's it called? Islam,
the Muslim
or certain, yeah.
Islam relate. I don't know. Well, you know what? He could be one of those. You know, they're doing it for their show. I mean, maybe he's not taking it seriously.
And I think I missed a super chat. I think Buchu says. I think Dennis Flaherty. I think that's what Butch is saying. Dennis Flaherty, shout out to Dennis Flaherty for his contribution with the super chat. He says, boxing and race. Let's stick with Broner defending himself in diapers. Okay. Come on. He's not going to be... Look, the guy... Yeah, but look, the guy, he's in a bit of a pickle himself, man, Broner. He's got like, what, 8 kids? And no money coming in?
Yes, seven kids with in their 5 different mothers.
Yeah, and no money coming in. So that's a bad proposition.
And he's been put in jail already for 30 days for failure to pay. I don't know if he's paid it. I know if it was coming up this March that he didn't pay it, he was going to be sentenced. And I think they were going to really throw him in there for a while. I mean, that was the video that came out. He said, I have friends with money. I have Giovanni, Davis, and Steven Espinoza. He name dropped him, which I'm sure he was really excited about. And Al Heyman, he name dropped him that he can get money from them. I have rich friends, Your Honor, is what he said.
Hey, by the way, man, the what was I gonna? Fuck, sorry, Jimmy, you cut me off guard here. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like. As I was gonna say, hit the like, and we gotta get back to some of these other subjects that I want to talk about. But first, let's go to the phone lines here real quick. My goodness gracious, I'm getting tired here. 661, you're in the air. 661, what's on your mind?
So that fight, the Leigh Wood fight, it was obviously fixed, right? We all figured that out. So whatever. Besides that, I want to talk about. He obviously dove. That was fake. Everybody knows that. But I want to talk about what we're talking about right now.
Everyone knows that.
And yeah, that was fake. Come on now.
Well, what was fake about it? What was fake about it? Come on.
When he hit him with the left hook,
he what?
It didn't even connect. It didn't even connect. He dove. It was he was
Fighter Spirit
paid to lose.
Fighter Spirit. Maybe if you took the mask off, the chimp mask off, you always have, or the gorilla mask. I don't know what it is, or you have a bunch of masks. The old man mask, you would have seen clearly.
No, I'm not wearing the mask now. But seriously,
I don't know, man. You sound like you got one.
Right? But
I hear you. Your voice is muffled, like you're talking behind a mask. But anyway, that's just my opinion, man. So yeah, what did you want to talk about?
Right, you guys are talking about this race stuff and
no, please.
No, we weren't talking about. That's not what we were talking about.
Please, no more race talk, man. Spider Spirit, no more race talk, please, man. It's Saturday night now, 9 p.m. Come on, man. Let's talk about something else.
I was going to unite. That was my point. Was going to be how it's irrelevant.
Oh, all right, cool.
Oh, okay, there you go. Unite.
Cool. Right.
Sorry to assume. Yeah, my apologies. I assumed. Yeah, go ahead.
I apologize too for assuming.
Yeah. My point was how you can just look at these cartel videos, what Mexicans do to other Mexicans. There's this video called the Guerrero Flame, where this cop and his son together got this. They chopped off this cop's head in front of his son, and then picked up the head and threw it at his son, and then they started hacking at the dude's chest.
Yeah, you're clearly
they ripped out his heart.
You're clearly
he's still alive.
Yeah, I know, but you clearly subscribed. You're subscribed to Disturbed Reality. Then I can see.
Ooh.
Exactly.
That's
he made a video about that.
Jesus Christ.
And I also made a reaction to it. But my point is how that's gonna come soon. It's already happening in the USA. They're just not reporting on it. Like a purge is gonna come. So eventually people are gonna be eating each other. So all this race stuff, like. Like the dude, what's his name? Geek, who was calling me out yesterday. saying he wanted to fight me or whatever.
Hey, but you know what?
I didn't even call him out. Really.
Can I just say, when it comes to beheadings and cartel videos, all you can do at the end of the day, like my grandfather always say, all you can do is laugh. Laugh it off. That's all you can do.
Exactly.
Now, I wanted to say...
It's entertainment.
Hey, Fighter Spirit, I gotta call you out on this, because Geek was in the Discord. He was ready to go at you through the voice chat, and you pussied out. You said, no, I'm eating right now. I'm having lunch. When it wasn't lunch. It was 9 in the morning, at night. So come on.
I was making a sandwich. But
it takes you 2 hours to make and eat a sandwich, man?
He said that No, he said, I want to clear it. I didn't call him out. He called me out, and I messaged him. He said he lived in Oakland.
Right.
And I messaged him, and he said he was in Pittsburgh all of a sudden. So,
but what I'm saying, Fighter Spirit...
You know, I'm down...
What I'm saying is he called you out, and you weren't there. You were making a sandwich, supposedly, which I don't even think you get the ingredients in your fridge to make a sandwich. But let's say you did. You should have shown up, man. We need to hash this out in the voice channel before this escalates, and it's got to be voice to voice. So are you willing to sit down and talk to Geek?
I already told him. I told him, just he want to fight? Okay, just send me location, and I'm there.
No, but I mean,
I don't go back and forth. And
that's what I'm saying. Instead of going back and forth in the... Instead of going back and forth in the chat, do it in the voice chat. Do it in the voice chat. Actually talk to each other.
The thing is, everybody knows on my YouTube channel, you can see me fighting. The thing is, he's saying that he wants to meet up, but we have to do it in a gym, and he has to wear sparring gear because I don't want to hurt the dude. You know?
Yeah, I understand.
It's a favor. He needs to wear
if you
sparring gear.
really want to spar somebody, but don't. MMA Spirit, if you really want to, spar somebody, then hey, that's all the power to you. But don't ever let anybody goat you into an internet fight. Going to meet people, dude, is probably not a good idea. I'm not saying this dude will do it, but there's some crazy motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got that right, Jimmy. We're talking to one right now.
Geek said he lived in Oakland, and when I heard you guys on live, and I messaged him, I said. Because I was in Vallejo yesterday. That's down the road from Oakland. But all of a sudden, he's in Pittsburgh. And I don't have to prove anything. I'm not looking for anybody. But I'm not hard to find either. And,
all right.
If he wants to get in the ring, like I said.
¿Estás listo para los chingazos?
Right. ¿Listas para los chingazos?
There you go. There you go. No, but listen. It's all fun and games here. The internet is just a little bit of fun, as Pigeon likes to say. But like Jimmy said too, look, listen, this guy obviously got riled up by what you said. You got a little bit riled up by what he said. But at the end of the day, it's just the internet. It's just the internet. It comes with the territory.
Geek is pumped up. He's flat-footed. He has no footwork. He'll gas out. He's not ready for my precise skill with my footwork and my head movement. He has no defense. He's slow. This dude just all talk. I messaged him. I'm just send me location. I'm there.
You're confident. You sound confident, kid. You gotta say you sound confident.
Yeah, he does, man. I mean, hey, listen, I think there's a name for that. It's a rhetorical.
Hey, listen, if this thing might happen, man, I'll make some calls out there to gyms. Maybe we can sponsor this thing. BDA, get a banner hanging. Stream that shit.
You know what? If both guys were serious, I'd do it. But my experience with this whole internet beefs is that it never leads to an actual fight. Yeah, it always falls apart. So,
are you tripping, fool?
Hey, look, listen, it is what it is, man. Well, listen, Fighter Spirit. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
That's it. I notice whenever a black dude comes on, you guys give the black callers a long time. I think you guys have to like cut them a little shorter.
Well, it makes for a good entertainment, man.
All right. I understand.
All right. So, Fighter Spirit, thank you for your call.
You got some. No, he said if you got anything to say, brother. I mean, he didn't say you had to get up.
Victim of the modern age, poor girl.
All right, listen, I don't know who's playing those songs, but listen, Fighter Spirit, we do have to go. Thank you for your call, and we'll catch you on the next one, all right, man?
See you later, Fighter Spirit.
All right, peace.
Take it easy, man. See, Jimmy, he didn't drop the F word today. So,
no, he didn't. He was actually a gentleman today. He didn't say nothing silly.
You know what it was, though? The threat of a fight humbled him. That's what it will do, man. Once the adrenaline starts pumping and it's fight or flight, you forget all about the ego. Speaking of a guy that's familiar with fight or flight, and it's always fight, it's Gonzalo. Gonzalo, you there?
Yeah, what's up, Mr. BDA?
Gonzalo was getting worried, man. Because yesterday you couldn't be on, and then today you were having trouble jumping in, and I didn't see you in the chat for a long time. So I was like, "Fuck, is Gonzalo okay? You doing good, man?"
Oh yeah, it's just my internet's not good right now. I paid it. I was late like a couple of days, so it got reconnected, but the internet hasn't been working ever since I repaid it.
Gonzalo, people all around, I was just reading, all around the North, Southeast Asia, all around that area having a hard time with their internet because the U.S. is jamming everything going into Russia, including phone calls. Like for people trying to call home, they were literally saying, dial 1-800, go F yourself or whatever. So, yeah, seriously, if you try to dial home, it was some guy came on, was just showing that Putin's actual, because the Russian people are being crushed under sanctions, everything else, not trying to paint any sides. I'm just saying what he said, and that they're really actually getting behind Putin, and that we're punishing the wrong people. So, well, anyways, I was just saying that's what the guy said.
Right. Well, hey, listen, Gonzalo, I wanted to ask you, man, did you see the fight, the Conlan Wood fight?
Yeah, I watched it. I got the zone here in the Philippines for $2. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
It's over here now, and I watched it. And you know what? What I thought it was cool, but they didn't play the replay, and they should have done that because I'm a paying customer now. So I mean, I should have had the privilege of watching the replay, and they didn't do that. So if it didn't replay for me, it didn't replay for anybody.
But I got the replay.
Really?
Although I just paused it from the show, from the actual fight.
Oh, no. We're talking an actual slow motion replay from all angles.
Okay. Oh, all right. Okay, yeah, because you can actually replay the fight, right?
Right.
Just not the.
You can replay the fight, but you can't watch the replay after the knockdown in slow motion. Usually they'll pass the replay 2 or 3 times afterwards, but this time around they didn't replay it at all.
You know what I bet you they're doing? Oh my God! And if this is the case, this is slimy. I'm just putting it out there. If they didn't do it, because what happens when they do that live like that, right? So people with good systems, not with a video camera taking it off the screen, but they can record that off their computer, even though they put a block on it from that happening. You can't screen record it like one of those cheap apps, but you can actually, if you have the good stuff, you can download it and then send it on an Instagram, on Twitter, and that one's the one that gets all the freaking, and that really means something to these knuckleheads because DAZN has pulled down my tweets, has pulled down other people's tweets I've known, just because we've used their product unauthorized. It's crazy. They only put people I've ever had that happen to. I'm wondering if they deliberately did that. And of course, they have the slow-mo, and if I went on Twitter right now, I bet you I can find it in the DAZN feed.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting, Jimmy. But I think the reason, like we said at the beginning of the show, I think the reason why they don't show replays like that is because when it's such a brutal knockout, they want to make sure that the guy's okay. That's their justification. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but their official justification is this guy's hurt. We want to make sure he's okay before we play the replay. And since they actually had to carry him out on a stretcher, I believe, they felt like it was inappropriate. But I disagree with that. Look, this is boxing. We can't, if you're gonna cheer people on for and pump the crowd up and make them think that these guys are in there to really rip their heads off, then you can't pussy out halfway through and say, okay, now it's too much. We're not gonna show the replay. Fuck that. We know what we're into. The fighters know what they're into. Show us the replay. We're not little kids here.
And BD, I think the way he fell, he just plummeted to the floor in between the ropes. And I don't think the people next to him had a chance to catch him. Mm-hmm. He just slipped in between the cracks.
Right.
He must have fallen where his neck, I didn't see it, but he must have fallen where his neck just hit the concrete or whatever's down there.
Right.
Like straight.
But that's also what I'm trying to get at here.
90 seconds.
Ah, shit. Hold on a second. Yeah, because I'm not explaining myself properly. Their justification is we can't show the knockout because it's out of respect for the fighter. But look, the fighter too, just like we paid for violence, say we know what we're getting into, these guys are getting into, they know what they're getting into as well. And look, if a replay's got to be replayed, and maybe the guy could have potentially been killed or seriously injured, well, it's boxing, man. I hate to say it, but we need to see that replay, man. I need wood. I need to get wood.
And I was thinking at first that it didn't dawn on me for the reasons that you're explaining now. I thought mainly because Conlan was like the A side and the other guy was like the B side. Maybe they didn't want to play the replay because it's the A side fighter that lost. But it's probably more likely what you're saying right now. It's actually the truth.
they didn't retweet it. They didn't tweet it out. Although people have, did what I said, videotaped it off the screen. It looks like shit, but a bunch of people did that.
By the way,
but you're 100% right, dude. He went between the ropes, and his head probably went right down on the concrete, and that's where the injury probably. And they would definitely put him in a stretcher if he went straight down onto his head on the concrete, because then you get a guy that gets a neck injury. Could have fractured his neck.
By the way,
Arkan
inmate in the chat says, you want a replay of a possible death, but no N-bomb. LOL. I mean, listen, we gotta have different types of standards here. Come on, man. You can't fault us for that. One. Actually, yeah, if you put deaths on YouTube, actually they allow it, but then they flag you. They're, what do they call that when you have to sign in afterwards? Yeah, it's flagged, right? Anyway, whatever, man.
Yeah.
But technically, you can post deaths on YouTube, but they might take them out, or they'll stick that 18 plus disclaimer where you actually have to sign in to watch it. By the way, sorry, Gonzalo, you want to say something?
Yeah, it's some of these amateurs, ex-Olympians that are highly regarded and really like unproven, and the professionals, sometimes they kind of go over with these guys. They're over regarded, like what's the word? They're
overrated.
Overhyped.
They're overhyped. Yeah, like Michael Conlan, guy that doesn't have much punching power. He might have been good fighting 3 rounds, 4 rounds, but once you're in the 11th round in deep waters and you don't have that much punching power, I mean, how do you ascertain how good of a fighter is in deep waters when he's usually like in the amateurs fighting only for a few rounds? And this is what happens, guy gets tired, he can't punch. Then all of a sudden the guy's coming in, the other guy's putting the pressure. He gets knocked out. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're right, man. It's look, if it would have been a 3-rounder, Conlan would have won it. But hey, these are the professional ranks, completely different world. By the way, this guy in the chat, Oscar de la Coca. Look, well, you guys can see it on the panel, but he's gotta recheck it when you replay the stream and check out his avatar. Well, listen, fellas, we do have to go because we've been on for 2 hours and it was just supposed to be a short stream. But I guess we'll be back next week. What do we have next week? Anybody know off the top of their heads? Hold on, let me check it out.
Maybe it's Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, that fight does nothing for me. That sucks. I hate not being excited for one of his fights.
Well, it is what it is, man.
It's not. I mean, the kid's undefeated. He's fighting. What is it? What's his name? McKinnison, yeah, but got no power, dude. He's just going to be hunted down and destroyed because he's not going to hurt Ortiz. So it's just going to be Ortiz just full great white mode, looking to do the burst from under. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially since he likes to force himself upon his opponents. Even a guy like Kavaliuskas who can crack, he just went in there and forced himself on Kavaliuskas. Kavaliuskas was hitting him back, but now he's facing a guy that doesn't have punching power, so he's gonna like superimpose himself on him, regardless if anything gets off or not.
And what happens in that situation, Gonzalo? If you were his trainer, what would you fear would come out of that? Bad habits. Right?
Yeah.
You go up against a kid, your fighter doesn't fear what's coming at him. You just don't want, and you don't fight enough. So every round is important with these guys because they're not fighting enough. So you got to guard against bad habits. So I would tell him just fight like this was anybody else, like he has power. Wait for it to come. Don't load up on everything. Because if he fights against somebody like Boots Ennis, who's talented enough to stay away from those big bombs until some of the zing comes off him. And then he would step up his stuff. Like he's got to learn to control it a little. That's all. But I'm really high on him in every capacity.
But really, he has to know how to turn it off and turn it on when he needs to. Because at the same time, when you're fighting a fighter that doesn't have that much power and your hands are heavier, the guy that has no power is probably quicker because his fists probably weigh less, so he can fucking get the shots off really, really quickly. He can let him go. He can let his hands go. And sometimes, why are you gonna box a boxer who's probably more adept at that game? Since you punch harder, I mean, just go in there and do your job. Regardless if you get hit a few times or not in the process, you got to break a few eggs, if you want to make an omelet.
That's
you got to go in there and So, but you just have to learn how to turn it off and turn it on when you need to. When you face a guy with higher power, don't take the shortcuts. Don't take the shortcuts because then your opponent's going to ring you your bell with a shot that you took from this opponent, but that other shot's going to feel much differently. And one punch could change things. But with this guy, nothing to fear.
Well, Jimmy, I know which fight you're going to be watching next Saturday because it's not just the Ortiz one. There's also the ESPN card. We got Berlanga taking on Steve Rolls for 10-round super middleweight.
Sounds like the Revengano from Scarface.
Exactly. There you go, Gonzalo.
At 168, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So Rolls is going up to 168. Is that where he normally fought at? Did he come down to fight Triple G?
Good question. He looked strong against Golovkin. I mean, he was tagging him with some shots. He just didn't. He didn't have that big power to keep Golovkin off of him. But we'll see what happens with Berlanga because Berlanga certainly hits hard, but he's also hittable as well. So we'll see. That's an interesting fight. And next week as well, via Japan, Yabuki versus Taraji. That's going to be an interesting fight as well. And from Dubai, Sonny Edwards, somebody called that guy the F word in the Discord, versus Mohammed Wasim. So there's 4 fights. Oh, sorry. And then there's David Avanesian fighting in England. So that's 5 fights. I don't know if that one's going to be televised though, but 5 fights should be interesting out there for everybody. By the way, Tony Yayo in the chat.
The 5 meh fights. The 5.
Jimmy, I gotta tell you, you're very. I gotta tell you, you're very negative lately. A negative Nancy. I remember I bring up.
I want a fight with 50-50, man. I want a good fight with a couple of guys, man. You know what I mean? Get your blood going.
Well, you said a couple of guys now. I think there's 2 girls that are fighting this week. That's kind of like highly regarded fight.
Are you serious, there, Gonzalo?
Serrano.
Are you serious, Gonzalo? Are you kidding around or?
No, I don't hardly ever watch the girl fights, but these girls, I think they're like on whatever. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll probably watch it.
No, actually, we won't see this is honestly, I plan on watching it. I'm not going to lie, because all the stuff around it. This is a big women's fight. It sold out Madison Square Garden, didn't it, or some shit?
Well, listen.
So, it's a Miranda Serrano.
We'll see what happens. Listen. Tony Yayo.
It's enough of that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Jimmy, but it's I got to give a shout out to Tony Yayo in the chat room. He says, that's my picture.
You want me to come in? We start over again, Mike?
I love that quote, man.
You want me to come in? We start over again, Mike?
Also, I got to give a shout out to Pete, who's bringing up Private Snowball. I got to play this favorite quote of mine from Full Metal Jacket.
You don't know very much, do you? How about getting with the program?
That's right. Why don't you guys get with the program? Actually, this is one of my other underrated quotes from Full Metal Jacket.
Is there an irregular?
Yeah, when he goes, a regular VA was killed. Why say irregular? Is there an irregular? That was a good editorial mark there from the guy. Yeah. What was the quote, Jimmy? As of right now, my responsibilities keep me where I belong, in the rear with the gear. That guy was
in the rear with the gear.
That guy was admitting that.
Yeah, I've been in the bush, and I mean. And he wasn't for me. I forget how he put it, the captain, but
too hot and too dangerous, or something like that. He said,
"Yeah."
Hey, Gonzalo.
They use all the slang, buku and everything.
Yeah, boku money. Yeah, Gonzalo. What would you have rather been at, man? The desert in Iraq, which is super hot, or the jungle in Vietnam with the fucking mosquitoes and the humidity?
I think the jungle's worse.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Hell yeah. The jungles. Well, the desert gets cold too in the night, but the humidity and the mosquitoes. Because when I was stationed in Georgia, we trained that area is like that. It's humid and there's a lot of mosquitoes. There's swamp. I've been in Louisiana as well.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. It sucks. That type of
poisonous
environment.
Snakes. Poisonous snakes. Poisonous freaking spiders. Elephant grass that slices your hand open.
Oh, geez, Luis.
Oh, dude, Vietnam. Dude, everything cut you in Vietnam. Every plant you touch. So, yeah, it was a hell.
The booby traps probably too, right? The booby traps.
Oh, yeah, the bungee traps because everything's such dense foliage. It's hard to see it. You can hide snipers everywhere. At least in the desert, it's hard to hide. Yes.
You said everything in Vietnam cuts you. You think that slash the prices in those goddamn Vietnamese restaurants. Every time I go there, they charge me up the wazoo. But anyway, that's a conversation for another podcast here. I want to give a shout out to Norman Luis for his contribution with the super chat. Shout out to Norman Luis. He did not leave a message, but we appreciate the contribution anyway. Leave a message next time. Give us your thoughts and keep the gravy train rolling, man, because you keep us going. And of course, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And I got to read a message here from Tony Yayo. He goes, I got to hand it to you, BA. You have everything a man could want. He's got all the quotes, this guy. He's got all the quotes from Scarface. But what else was he going to say?
No, BD, I think that guy must have landed straight on his neck. What do you call it? The nuca, the back of the neck. I remember when I got here to the Philippines, I slipped in the shower because the bathrooms here are always wet. Because they use water like everywhere. So I slipped and talking about slipping, I fell 2 days ago when it was raining over here too. But yeah, when I first got here, I slipped and I almost hit my neck on the back of the toilet, but I didn't. I barely missed it. But I fell straight on my back and I dislocated. I messed up my bad really back. So just imagine falling from that high off the ring apron to the ground. I don't know how many feet it is off the top of my head, but yeah, falling like that, man, straight on the back of your neck, you could kill yourself like that, actually.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
On top of that, he was limp when he went down. So there's no...
That actually might be a saving grace.
Oh, really?
When your body's limp, you fold more when you're tense. Like, in a car accident, like, oh, shit, you squeeze real hard on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Boom, and you're hitting and everything's stiff. You can break your arms easier that way when you stiffen up. When you're just limp like that, when you land how you're going to land. But if you're not all stiff, sometimes that helps. It's weird, but yeah.
What happened to Christopher Reeve, Superman, the guy that could fly in the movies? He fell off a horse and, he became disabled, paralyzed, could never ever walk again.
Gonzalo, why do you gotta point out that he could fly in the movies, but not in real life? I mean, come on.
That was Superman. That's fucking Superman.
It was weird, right? When that happened, all of a sudden Superman he was crippled. But yeah, that was off he had like a fucking 12-hand horse, and that like bucked him over a fence jump. So he was probably 14 feet in the air and came right down on his neck. Snap, and he came
my goodness gracious.
It was terrible.
Well, listen, we do have to go, but guys, stay on the line here on the Discord and just to hash a couple of things out. And that's about it. Everyone else, thank you to everybody that called in, everybody that donated the super chat, and of course, everybody that was here listening to us talking about Warzik, Eddie Valenzuela. Shout out to Norman Luis, Rady, One Foot Out the Door, Jaguar. Shout out to those two fellas. Grievous, Arkham Inmate, Tony Yayo, Daniel McCarthy, Uncle Pete in the chat as well. Shout out to Uncle Pete. And everybody else, you guys know who you are. Everybody that called in, everybody that was in the StreamYard. Catch you guys later. Thank you for joining us and see you next time.
I'm disappointed in everyone